What's up, everybody? This is a very special episode. I mean, all of the podcast assembled episodes are special, but this one is just on a different level right here. That's correct. We are here. We are in the Superhero Homie studio today, and we are going to be covering none other than the second half of Ahsoka. Some introductions are in order. Her first time in this particular studio, we have Lauren from Coffee and Lore. We also have Ace from the Superhero Homies.
I'm here.
And we have Oz from the Tavern Notice Board.
Woo woo!
And, of course, we have myself from Entertainment Evolved. So, we are here. I am so glad to be talking about this. We are talking about, of course, episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8. If you want to hear our thoughts on the first 4 episodes, Lauren and I actually reviewed that. You can go check that out on my channel. And the last thing that happened at the end of episode 4 was we got the Anakin Skywalker cameo.
Absolutely. And Lauren can talk. I just went blank there for a second. No, that was so much fun reviewing that episode.
Yeah, we kind of got left on that cliffhanger. I know you're a big Anakin Skywalker fangirl. So.
Absolutely. You can find all my Anakin fan fiction on my Wattpad.
You know he murdered a bunch of kids, right? Like
I'm aware, but
okay.
they pushed him
it?
to that.
Oh my God!
I have some thoughts on that.
Little do you know that in the canon there are no children on Alderaan. I know the Kenobi show differently, but those were holograms.
Well, she wouldn't be a child forever, though.
That's true. Yeah.
Very wise words.
Yeah, Leia was the last child on Alderaan.
The last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. So we have buttons here.
Amazing.
that do
Oh, yeah.
things.
Oh yeah.
Stop pressing my buttons, Oz. I mean that literally and metaphorically.
No, I definitely have opinions on what brought Anakin to that point and how everybody in the Jedi Order failed him.
I mean, not everybody, but
Well, that's like saying that society failed me because they just never treated me right and I burned down an orphanage.
that's true.
Did you ask
With all
for
of them
help?
in it. With all the orphans.
Yeah, a very important detail. All the orphans were still in there.
Well, you got to make sure nobody becomes Batman.
Oh, yeah. That'd be the worst.
Yeah. If you're going to be a supervillain, you got to make sure they can't create
But
Batman.
here's the thing. Are you a super hot, angsty teen whose bangs, like, fall in your hair? Because then you can be, like, totally forgiven for all of these things.
Gotcha.
No, just kidding.
Yes, because the glorious locks that is in this man's head.
Haters gonna hate.
Oh, we are going to be off the rails the whole time. And I'm just going to go ahead and warn everyone about that. It is going to happen. I can feel it. However, I want to talk about just kind of brief thoughts on everything. Full spoilers. We're not even going to try to get around it here. So
I couldn't if I tried.
yeah, if you have not seen the second half of Ahsoka, and maybe a whole bunch of other things, you might want to tune out now if you don't want to be spoiled. But there could be spoilers for pretty much anything that's released in Star Wars as of right now on this. So that you have been fairly warned. Oz, I'm going to start with you. What's kind of your... I don't have to. You want me to come back?
No, that's fine. I'm good. Let's go.
He's ready.
You seem shocked. Are you?
No.
Okay.
Just
All
usually you don't go for me first.
All right. Well, I would like. So, what's your just brief, like, overall thoughts on the series as a whole?
The series as a whole, oh my god! I had zero expectations coming into the show because the Obi-Wan show just kind of really let me down quite a bit.
Yeah.
But the fact that Dave Filoni has basically single-handedly saved Star Wars for me, it actually kind of revitalized my love for Star Wars. Not that it was going away or anything, but it was definitely watered down. And the fact that Dave Filoni with this show single-handedly made me excited again about Star Wars, anything new about Star Wars. Yeah, 100%. I love this show.
Fucking nerd.
Did you watch Andor?
I did. Don't get me wrong. Andor was great. I enjoyed that show. It's just Ahsoka is more along the lines of the stuff that I enjoy. I really big into the Jedi lore,
right.
And we actually get a good bit of it in this show through storytelling, which is great.
Yeah, I agree. And while we have had Dave Filoni's influence, obviously through Mandalorian, right? Like he's not the showrunner on Mandalorian, but he is there as an executive producer. He's there as kind of like the guy to be like, hey, can we do this? Does this make sense? I kind of wish he was there like that on every project.
Yep, they just need to give him the keys to the castle and fire Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, I agree. You will get no argument from me on that. I've been saying that shit since like right after The Last Jedi came out. But it seems like people are catching on to that. Mm-hmm. But this is the first show where he's ever been the showrunner. Like he's the guy because Jon Favreau is technically the showrunner for Mandalorian, and I can't remember the guy's name that's in charge of Boba Fett. I can't remember who it is, but is it?
I was gonna say IMBD gentleman.
Yeah, no, but that's irrelevant. But
you know that, right?
they can see you. But he's just a consultant on that, really. And then this show, obviously, like this is his baby, and he did direct the episode of Mandalorian season 2 called The Jedi, where Ahsoka had her debut. So
yeah,
live action debut.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he? He also created Rebels. Correct?
Robert Rodriguez.
You're right. Yes, yeah, Robert Rodriguez. He's the co-created Clone Wars with George Lucas, and is the showrunner for Rebels. Also, yeah. So, Ace, what about you? What's your overall thoughts on the series?
I feel like maybe the odd man out on this one.
Oh no.
No, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the show. I wasn't like head over heels for it. There's certain things about the show that I wasn't really all about and was kind of curious for. And we'll get more into those things later. But there were a lot of things about the show that I did really enjoy, from like the cinematography of it, the atmosphere. I feel that Dave Filoni really nailed those aspects. But ultimately, I think the reason why I might be a bit of an odd man out is because by the time I finished episode 8, I felt like this was a show for Dave Filoni fans, not necessarily to help create new ones. And but I can appreciate that as a purist myself, my own form and fashion. I can appreciate that, but it does kind of put up certain walls, moments where I knew that the show really wanted to emphasize how important certain moments or certain characters were. And I was like, that's cool. Please tell me why I should care. And there were certain situations where I was like, if I knew more about these characters or these situations, this shit would be heavy as hell right now. But because I don't. And so it put a ceiling on my overall enjoyment, how much I could enjoy what I saw.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. And we are going to discuss that a lot, I think, tonight, because that is a major thing, especially kind of the way the last episode ends. Mm-hmm. There's some major items there that we're going to have to discuss.
Oh, yeah.
Lauren, what about you? What's your overall thoughts?
Well, I absolutely loved it just because of what we talked about from the first half. I am here for anything with Hayden Christensen's character in it. And I also really enjoyed the lore portion. I'm really hyped for the, I think it's a show they're doing about the High Republic time frame. You know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about The Acolyte?
Yes, I think so.
I am not hyped for that.
Why not?
Because this is Kathleen Kennedy's press
is it she? I don't know who's doing these things. I just know the projects are coming.
That's why I told Ace on a different episode. I was like, from now on with Star Wars, show me the title and the credits before I watch it. I want to know whose name is where. But yeah, the Acolyte I think is supposed to be somewhere in is going to be High Republic era, and it could be good. It's supposed to be like about how like the dark side of the Force came back in or whatever. Right. But the next thing that Dave Filoni is doing is either going to be a second season of this, or we're going to go right into his very likely to be called Heir to the Empire movie.
Because who does Andor? Because I know Andor 2 is what we're getting next.
Andor is Gareth Edwards. Okay. He just came out with, what's that movie with the AI kid in it?
The Creator?
The Creator. He just came out with a new movie, The Creator, but they are about to start shooting season 2 of Andor.
I'm so excited for that. That was my favorite Star Wars project that's come out to Disney Plus recently. Andor was super good to me. Feeding off of what Ace said, as somebody who has not seen Clone Wars, the animated one, I get what he's saying. It took me quite a few episodes to understand who these characters were. I spent easily the first 2 episodes being like, who the fuck is Ezra? And why is it so important that we are looking for him? Like, that she would literally endanger everything in order to find this person. And so I had to start like doing research in order to fully get into the show, if that makes any sense. But once I got a couple of episodes into it, I understood who these characters were now. I understood like the magnitude of Thrawn. I understood some of these things. Then I was all in on this show. But it did take me going to like a Wikipedia and trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
It's a thing. Yeah.
I believe it.
So I had to like do work, and then the show was like top tier.
It's very much, you know, I saw a meme today that was like, Dave Filoni, no, you don't need to watch Clone Wars to enjoy Ahsoka. And then it's like, also Dave Filoni, by the way, here's the fucking Mortis gods. And we're gonna get into that heavily tonight. But you know, I can't say I agree with the first statement, because I think that you can get, if you've only seen, let's just imagine you've only seen, God forbid, the 9 movies, right? I really just wanted to say 6, but let's just say that you've seen only the numbered Star Wars movies.
You would have no idea what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, you would really not know a single person in this other than Anakin, and 3PO, right? And and Admiral Akbar. Admiral Akbar is
he does show up a little bit.
Well, he's the captain of Home One, so he's
Mon Mothma, right?
Oh yeah, Mon Mothma, of course. However, the actress that plays Mon Mothma in this is not in any of the feature movies, I don't believe. I think she is only in
Andor in this.
Andor, this. That's not it though. She's also in Mandalorian a little bit, and she's in I don't know if she's the voice actress for her in Clone Wars or not.
I doubt it.
You know, just to piggyback off of what you were saying, Akbar got the reaction that I think that they were expecting me to give for like some of these other characters. I was like, oh yeah, that's okay. So this is that Thrawn guy. Interesting. Yeah, okay. This is Ezra. Okay, that's Ezra. Oh, hey, I know you.
It's a trap, motherfucker.
It's a trap.
Why? Can I ask why is Thrawn blue? What planet? Like,
I mean, I just assume he's
Thrawn is a Chiss. Is the race that he is.
Got it.
We don't use those slurs around these guys.
So Thrawn, that's why he is blue. All his people are blue.
Are there any other Chiss
piercing
that I
red
would have like known?
So the Chiss ascendancy actually is in the unknown regions of space, out past the Outer Rim. So Thrawn actually, his original role in the Empire, and I don't know if he still has this kind of mindset or not. He actually was originally kind of like a spy for the Chiss ascendancy to kind of discern whether, like, how big of a threat the Galactic Empire was going to be.
Got it.
However, he is such a ruthless motherfucker, and this is kind of a thing that was more heavily focused on in the expanded universe. Is that the Empire is super racist, right, against aliens?
Sure.
They hate Wookiees, they hate Ewoks. I mean, you probably guess why they hate Ewoks.
I hate Ewoks too, so I can't really blame them for that.
Yeah, I mean, they hate everybody, right? Like, that's not human. So that's why a lot of times when you watch the movies, almost all the Imperial officers, all humans.
Yeah.
That's why when they in Empire, when they bring all those like bounty hunters on the ship, they're all looking at them like they're pieces of trash because they think they are. However, Thrawn is a fucking Grand Admiral and is not a human. So like that just tells you like the Emperor like really respects like just how ruthless this guy is.
Oh yeah, and he's just a fucking phenomenal villain. Like just his analytical, like tactical mind is just on point.
I love that Thrawn is never. So we can just go ahead and talk about Thrawn here because I thought it was brilliant the way that they had the episode 5, which we definitely talk about at length, where they had Anakin, come in and they had the whole episode with Anakin and Ahsoka,
which was amazing.
Oh yeah,
that was
fucking incredible,
so good.
But it's like, how are you going to come back from that episode? Well, you're going to bring Thrawn out.
Right.
And honestly, from the moment that he goes on screen to the very end, you never see him lose. He never gets a setback. He is always one step ahead of everybody. And I loved that, because when they first said they were going to bring him in, I was like, I swear to God, if they get the best of him in this, like, then I'm done. But thankfully, Dave Filoni knows that, hey,
well, he created the character. He should know.
Dave Filoni did not create Thrawn. Thrawn was created by Timothy Zahn in the 90s in the Heir to the Empire novel. Yeah.
Oh, shit. My bad.
I don't need no IMDb for that one. So, yeah. So he is not the creator of Thrawn. He is the one that introduced him to official canon in Rebels.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I am really going to need all of you collectively to walk me through this man's genius, because I got the idea that this guy was super clever and well and calculated and well thought out in all of his plans and motives. However, like maybe I need to watch the episode again. I think his episodes in particular, because it just felt like he kept taking L's, and he was like, it's part of the plan. I'm like, that doesn't make it smart, motherfucker. Like hey, like okay, so.
Well, no, like the genius behind him is he expects stuff to fail, but then he has a backup plan for it.
It just kind of seemed like ultimately so much shit. Most people, I think, would have considered that shit went wrong. I would prefer had that not happened. And his ultimate rebuttal was like, "What? This is buying me time."
well, no, but like in the beginning of that episode, they explained to him that that is Anakin Skywalker's Padawan.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that's not in the show, so here's a little context for you.
Yeah.
Thrawn is one of the few people, maybe not now, but at the time that Vader was alive, only maybe 7 people in the galaxy knew that Anakin Skywalker was Darth Vader. Thrawn figured it out on his own.
Oh.
And he basically has a conversation that goes kind of like, I'm going to poke at him about it, because Palpatine is not going to let him kill me. But I can't 100% come out and say that I know who he is, because he will kill me. Right?
Yeah.
But Thrawn knew that Anakin was Vader. And so...
Interesting.
And that was definitely not widely known. The way that the Empire really spun it is, number one, they really tried to wipe away the existence of the Jedi, right? To where so many people just believe it's a myth, that it's not real. Right. But also... Anakin Skywalker officially was killed during Order 66, during the Purge. So they wanted everybody to believe that. So Thrawn knew that he was sending those troops to their deaths, because Ahsoka Tano is not... I mean, he doesn't even know that she can probably fight 100 of those troopers, because she was trained to fight the 501st. Right? For hours. Well, I say it seemed like maybe for days.
Yeah.
But, and the 501st... is way more badass than any of these stormtroopers. So it's just kind of like, Thrawn knew that he was sending those troopers to their deaths. But he was correct, though, because the thing that they couldn't afford to lose was time, and they ultimately didn't make it. They got stranded in another galaxy.
Yeah.
I mean, Ezra got onto the ship, but, I mean, he doesn't view Ezra as
a threat,
as a real threat to him. I mean, but even then, one of the things I really love is in that last episode where they're like, oh, well, there's not really anything they can do to stop us. I think it was Morgan Elsbeth that dropped that line. And it's just and he's like, no, a single Jedi stranded me here. No. Yeah. We're not having any of this shit. And then he's like, you got to stay behind. Here's a cool sword. You got to stay behind.
She did get a cool sword for a little bit.
We'll talk about that sword a bit.
Flame time.
Absolutely. And her fighting style, because I picked up on a couple of different things.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that I've talked to, I guess, that had watched Mandalorian didn't remember that she fought Ahsoka in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I was actually one of them. I've seen both. I was just like, why do I know this bitch? And I was like, oh, she fought her in Mandalorian at one time. Got it.
Yeah, she has the Beskar spear when they first meet her in Ahsoka's episode. They fight. And then she loses, and that's how she ends up being imprisoned, and why they break her out at the beginning of this.
Makes sense.
So yeah, so this was kind of the rematch between her and Ahsoka, and I thought that, I thought their fight was great. But like I said, we can come back to that too. I thought Thrawn was great. Like
100%.
I love the fact that you can tell that he's been stranded here for I think they've been there almost 15 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So because they got stranded there just before episode 4 of Star Wars. So because if Thrawn had been there during the Battle of Yavin when they blew up the first Death Star, then Star Wars would have been one film.
Right.
That would have been it. So yeah, him and the Chimera, his ship, which used to be really badass. It's still pretty badass, but it's missing a bunch of chunks and shit now.
It's all good.
But I thought that it was great that they got Lars Mikkelsen
Yeah.
to play him. That's Mads' brother.
Yes.
Is it really?
It
Yeah.
is.
Oh.
Yeah, it's his brother.
See, the problem is those contests, I can't see the eyes. Mads Mikkelsen has, looking at the eyes here in the IMDb, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He actually voiced him in Rebels as well. So
Oh.
That's so cool. I love when they rolled over the animated voice actors to the characters.
I'm glad that they did not do it with Sabine. I thought that the actress for Sabine did a tremendous job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sabine ended up being my favorite character in the show.
That tracks because she's very Anakin.
Right. I mean, she's very she's gonna make emotional decisions.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm in love with this dude. So the galaxy, fuck the galaxy.
Fuck
I just feel like I would make similar decisions.
I'd like to say that I would not fucking. I don't know, man. If I knew what I know about Thrawn, I mean, obviously Sabine doesn't. She's encountered him and knows he's dangerous. But if I knew what I know about Thrawn, I would be like, I'm not going.
Sorry, Ezra, you just did.
Yeah, yeah, man. You seem like you're doing fine. You made it all this time.
What's your little crab people?
Crap, people.
Crap. That's a South Park reference. Huh? I understand.
Yeah, that's right.
So the funniest thing about those people, I was trying to think of. I had a few drinks when I was watching the episode where they found Ezra the first time.
Okay.
And I was sitting and I was trying to think of, is it aardvarks, the ones with the shell? Are aardvarks the ones that have the shell? I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
But I kept calling them anteaters. No, not anteaters.
Armadillos.
Armadillos have the shell.
I was like,
Okay,
isn't an
thank you.
aardvark a bird?
So
No, that's what Arthur is. All right?
So-
Aardvarks.
I
Is
meant,
it really? Yeah. See, I don't know.
I meant they look like armadillos.
I know
because
Star
they got
Wars,
the
not National
shell.
Geographic.
But I kept calling them aardvarks, just repeatedly, until finally the person I'm watching with is like, why do you keep calling them aardvarks? And then we had to do a Google dive, and it turned out I meant armadillos.
I can see where you get confused.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, A words, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I really liked the introduction of those folks just because this show, to me, more than anything that Disney has ever done, feels like Star Wars.
Yeah.
It 100% feels like I'm watching a new chapter of Star Wars. And I'm not trying to say that Mandalorian doesn't, but Mandalorian has its own feel. It feels like it's in Star Wars, but this feels the most like Star Wars, the most like the original 6 films that anything that Disney has ever done has felt like to me. So
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I like the little, friendly new race and whatever that were. Because have we seen this race of people before? No, I didn't think
Noti,
so.
I believe they are called.
A whole nother galaxy.
Right, a new world that we haven't.
Yeah, I mean, we've never been outside the main galaxy before, so this is the first time that's ever been explored.
I believe their technical names are the rock lobsters. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. All
For
right.
about 2 seconds, I thought they really were called the rock monsters.
There's a dance and a song and everything. Apparently, I missed that after credits. Oh my god, Ace, I'm gonna defer to you first on this one. What do you think about the action in this show?
This was some of the best action I've seen in Star Wars, especially action with with lightsaber duels.
Oh
Yes.
God, yes.
Yeah, I thought that they did a tremendous job with the lightsaber action here. And I mentioned earlier how another one of my pros were just the overall look and cinematography of the show, like the atmosphere of it all was just so well done, and that blends in with the action shots here. I'm a huge action buff, but when we saw like, you know, whether it was Ahsoka versus Anakin, you know, that was tremendous. Ahsoka versus Balin was also tremendous.
I still think it's my favorite fight.
That's my favorite fight in it too. The first fight they have.
Good.
Mine is actually the Ahsoka and Anakin, and it's not just because of who she's fighting, but you can see a lot of reflection in that fight, and I'm pretty sure that was probably the intent. But it's little small, you know, things that pay attention to detail like that I just really dug. I like the fact that, spoiler alert for the spoiler alert you already gave, I like the fact that she never actually technically beat Balin. He never, I guess he kind of won the first fight.
He definitely won the first fight.
He won the first fight, dog.
But I mean, she was hurt. You know, she had burned her hand on the thing, and
Yeah. I mean, like, to really, as a villain, though, to really get the W, like, you got to be like, all right.
Murdering somebody.
Yeah. She's either got to be, like, dead or imprisoned.
well, Balin's intent wasn't to kill her though.
Yeah, I know. It's also why he took
Well,
the
see, also, like, and this is, like, while he is working with the villains, I don't think Balin is a villain.
He's definitely an antagonist.
I mean, maybe.
No,
but
that's not. He's going against the protagonist.
He is not a Sith. I think he's definitely an antagonist.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. I'm just saying, like, Balin's motives are his own. Like, I mean, he may be working with, you know, the Night Sister, whatever her name is. I'd never remember her name. The chick with the sword.
Morgan
Elspeth.
Elspeth.
Yeah, her.
She's a Night Sister now. So
Now, yeah.
Well, she
But
kind
like he was
She
using
dead
her.
now.
she was a Night Sister.
I mean, he was using her to, you know,
yeah.
to get to his goal. He gave two shits about Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, Thrawn. He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He wanted to end up where he ended up, I feel like.
Yes.
He got what he wanted.
Yeah, I really wish we had gotten more of Balin and Shen, I think was his apprentice name.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see more of them. They ended up being, like, for me, the most kind of captivating characters. We only got snippets of them, and that really made me want to see more of them. Like, I would have liked to have seen, okay, so, like, I want to see your humble beginnings. Like, all right, so what's her training look like as compared to, like, a typical Jedi and Padawan? So, you know, there's a lot of cool things I really would have liked to have seen between those two before we started to get the rift.
She crazy.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. She
Also,
batshit.
at what point did he pass away? Like, were they still filming? Were they gonna do more with that character? And then
well,
they
he
put
passed in May.
Yeah, he died way before the show came out. So obviously they're gonna have to recast him because they apparently they very clearly intended for him to go on and do other things. Which Ray Stevenson did an incredible job in the show.
so good.
Like how you mentioned, they were the most captivating characters. I definitely can honestly sit here and say that Balin was my favorite character of the show. 100%. Like, because, like, he was, like, almost like the adverse of Qui-Gon. Like, he was the
see that.
the neutral character on the
For
dark
the
side.
dark side.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. Balin's fucking dope.
No, I 100% agree.
I love that him and Shin are not Sith, and you really get to see that in the way that they part ways. Like the whole idea of like the rule of two not applying here, right? Like Shin had no desire to overthrow him. She looked up to him.
Right.
They had a I'm not going to say a nurturing relationship necessarily, but they were close, right? You could tell that it wasn't like, oh, I'm just using her for my machinations like any Sith would do with their apprentice, you know.
I like the fact that they were using orange lightsabers instead of red. That was just, like you said, that little attention to detail. I'm like,
Chef's kiss.
And I want to know what the story is with that because
all the other colors I can tell you, but orange, I like orange is the one I don't know.
well, there are no red blades, right? So because the only way that you can get a red blade is to corrupt a kyber crystal. So we see the opposite of that in Ahsoka's blades, which is why they are unique. Is Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi? She kills an Inquisitor and takes the Inquisitors have like the staffs or whatever, and she breaks the staff apart and she purifies those corrupted crystals, and so that's why hers are white. But I do not know what is up with Balin and Shin's lightsabers. Right? Yeah. So
I know they had a brief. I think you can get like one or two of them in Knights of the Old Republic.
The Sentinels had orange, right? Like that's what Bastils.
No, Sentinels had yellow.
Yeah, they were yellow.
Yeah, they had yellow.
Maybe it's like some cool red yellow hybrid something meaning.
Yeah, like I know, I know that of course most of the lore behind colored lightsabers weren't officially canon until way later because George Lucas was just like, "What color do you want?"
Oh, for sure. Like the original, like we always associate green with like consulars, right?
Right.
And that Luke changes the lightsaber in Return of the Jedi. But the real reason that the lightsaber is green is because the blue one didn't show up well in the scenes in the desert in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, they just made it green.
So they just made this new lightsaber green because he lost the old one.
My favorite color is purple, George. I need to have purple.
Yeah. Although
good reason.
The lore for Mace Windu's lightsaber, like that they came up with after the fact, though, is so good.
Oh yeah,
because Mace Windu actually. I can tie this in. This is not going to be a rabbit hole thing. Not entirely.
Doesn't matter.
Bear with me here. Bear with me here.
Bear with me here.
Bear with me here. So Mace Windu actually, the whole thing about the purple lightsaber is Mace Windu actually has mastered all of the dark side lightsaber techniques and the light side ones. Mm-hmm. But he is so powerful in the Force that he can do the dark side stuff without being lured by it. So that's actually the idea for his purple blade, is that it's a combination of blue and red. Mm-hmm. The last person that we saw fight with the Sword of Talzin that we see in this episode was Mother Talzin, actually, in Clone Wars. She fights Mace Windu with that blade, and that's where it came from. And
Very cool.
She was the de facto leader of Dathomir before Palpatine was like, no, they all got to die, because much like we saw with Mandalore, anybody that was like a threat to the Empire, Palpatine wiped them out. And that's why Dathomir is a ghost town, is because Palpatine knew that the Night Sisters were so powerful in the Force, and that they were a real threat to him. Like, he saw them like resurrecting people from the dead and shit. It was like,
I don't think they're actually they're not powerful in the Force. I think they actually use a different type of magic.
Their magic is based in the Force.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just, it is not in the typical light and dark means
it's
that
necromancy.
Yeah, I mean they have a different kind of way of using it. It's just completely separate from what we see the Sith and the Jedi using.
So. I got you.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, just adds more. It's just adds more clarification to they're just fucking space wizards.
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, because they're I mean, you got witches. Like, these are definitely fucking wizards.
Yeah.
Balin was my second favorite character. My favorite character, obviously.
I can't. Wait. Let me guess.
No.
Let me think about it.
Okay.
On the same time.
Same time.
1, 2, 3. Sabine.
Ahsoka.
I'm just kidding. I know. I was fucking with him. With him.
Your guess is better than mine. I was gonna say crap person number 2.
See, I'm over here taking it serious. I'm like, I got it right, they got it wrong.
I believe Caleb's gone on record many times saying who his favorite overall character in Star Wars is.
It differs depending on the day. Some days it's Obi-Wan, some days it's her. But in this show, I thought that the way Rosario Dawson played her was fucking masterful, because in the very beginning, we see somebody who is on this mission. They didn't fall into any of the tropes they could have fell into. They didn't do the why my master turned into a Sith Lord and I cut myself off from the Force bullshit. They didn't do any of that. Like, she's definitely still on this mission to find out what's going on with Thrawn, prevent him from coming back. And she does want to find Ezra too, but unlike Sabine, that is not Ahsoka's primary mission. Ahsoka's primary mission is to make sure that we don't end up in a war with another empire, like that Thrawn cannot return and unite the remnants of the empire. And then as she kind of meets Sabine, we kind of see her in this mindset of like, not that she's like emotionally cut off, but like she's still so conflicted. She's like really down about like everything that's transpired because she's been through so much trauma. And one of the things that a lot of people commented in the early episodes is like, this doesn't feel anything like the character from like Clone Wars, right?
Because she's been through some shit,
right? Or even from Tales of the Jedi. You watch her 3 episodes of Tales of the Jedi. She's 3 completely different people. You got her as the little baby,
right?
And then you have her as like the Padawan, and then you have her like where everything's gone to shit,
Yeah.
And in that episode, she wants out of the fight. She doesn't want to continue. And Leia's dad comes in with with that awesome speech that he gave, where he's rolling those deception checks. Because he's talking to the troopers, but he's really talking to her.
Yeah.
And so everything that she does in the first 4 episodes leading up to the fight and everything, and then how she changed after her interactions with Anakin, and even during her interactions with Anakin.
Oh yeah.
To her being the much more, not necessarily, like, she's not fully whimsical, but she's a much more like balanced, kind of like relaxed, and like I would even say like focused in the latter half after that point.
Well, it was definitely more of that point of clarity, because like you said at the very beginning of the show, like Tales of the Jedi, we see her as this person who wants out. Well, the person we get at the beginning of the show is now the person who's like, well, shit, now I'm dragged back in.
Yeah.
Right.
And so seeing that, like, that talking with her master, training with him a little bit, getting her ass beat, she now has like this almost like serene, Jedi feeling. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Yeah, that line that she drops.
Oh, the I want to live. Or
yeah,
whatever.
the I choose to live.
I choose to live. It's such a fucking good moment.
It was a good moment because she got confronted with everything that happened to Anakin, and really like she had to make a choice at that moment to either continue down the path she was going down, or like she says, I choose to live. And I love how when she comes out of that, she's just such a more different character, but much more like the character we originally met in the Clone Wars.
I think that was my favorite thing, was the whole Anakin interaction, everything about it, where he, where the light flashes and you see him as Darth.
Imagine
and then
that.
You see him. You already know if it's got my boy in it, I'm watching it, I'm loving it. But the flashes of Darth Vader, the flashes of
That's such a good, like you said, cinematography.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing. The whole I choose to live portion, just top tier. And then the difference you see in her. Like, I feel like pre-Anakin fighting mental gymnastics, she would not have been so accepting of Sabine and Ezra when she found them. She would have been way freaking harder on that whole situation. That you see it on Sabine's face. She's like, you're cool? You're cool? And it's because she had that whole out-of-body experience in, what is it? The
world between worlds.
The world between worlds.
Where's the
outer realm is Mortal Kombat.
World between worlds.
Well, yeah, Outer Realms is Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat was my favorite movie. But
Well,
She did not
She
go there.
would have treated Sabine the same way that the Jedi Council treated Anakin before that moment.
absolutely.
And that's why that interaction is so important.
Absolutely.
Because the thing is, like, when she finds out everything out, and she comes to Sabine and she's like, I'm going to be by your side no matter what. That is not something that a Jedi would have said.
No.
Especially not one that's on the council. And if Obi-Wan, I love him, but if he would have, he knew about Anakin and Padme. And if he ever would have just been like, I know, but I got you, then things probably would have been completely
there wouldn't
different.
been no Padawans killed. Like, I feel like some shit would have gone differently. But
So
not
what you're telling
one
me-
person told that poor boy, I got you.
So what you're telling me is you're blaming Obi-Wan for those those younglings dying?
I'm not blaming Obi-Wan. I'm not blaming Obi-Wan. I'm blaming Obi-Wan. I'm blaming Yoda. I'm blaming Mace Windu. I'm blaming...
And Anakin and Anakin and Anakin.
And Anakin.
At some point, you have to be responsible for your choices.
100%. My dude made some bad choices.
Let's throw Palpatine on that list.
Yes.
I think he made a bad choice for every youngling he killed. How many bad choices was that?
At least 2 dozen.
Let's go to the Wookiees and ask them what they think about it. Because he killed a fuck ton of Wookiees.
Definitely did. My dude made some bad choices, but
A bad choice is like when I choose to speed on an intersection that I know has a lot of police interference. That's a bad choice.
I get it. There's different, levels of choices.
Killing kids though.
Like,
All I'm saying is there were signs, and those signs they were ignored.
I like how I never bring up him killing the younglings, though. I'm just like,
because you know that
kids,
Well, you have a list of why you won't have kids. So
That's
like,
true.
I have that same list, but I also have a list of reasons why I won't kill a kid.
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna just walk into a room and start murdering. That's super frowned upon.
Frowned upon.
Oh shit!
Oh,
I gotta be honest. It took me a while to warm up to Ahsoka, and it certainly isn't because of Rosario Dawson. I went into the show expecting nothing less. I know that she's going to deliver top-notch stellar performance, and what I felt for a while is what I got is really stoic, wooden, monotone delivery. And I was like, why is this? But admittedly, those first 2 episodes were just hard for me to get through. First 2 to 3.
those first 2 are very slow because a lot of it really is like, okay, we realize everyone hasn't seen Rebels, so we got to catch everybody up on who these people are. We have to introduce.
Even then, they didn't do a super bang up job on that.
I had no idea what was going on.
I know Rebels because my son was obsessed with it when it first came out, so I know a good chunk of the story. I've never seen Clone Wars, but I do a lot of research on Jedi lore, so yes.
Nerd.
That's the only way I knew what was going on was research. Because I think we tried to watch Clone Wars.
A little bit, yeah.
And they don't have it all on Disney Plus. It's like only the last season or two.
Yeah, it's like final season.
They don't have all of.
No, you gotta find that on the dark web or something. I don't know.
Was that because it originally came out on Cartoon Network?
Did it?
Maybe.
I didn't even think about that.
No clue.
But they have that essential Ahsoka episodes though, and that has all of her stuff on it.
We looked and we couldn't find season 1 of Clone Wars.
So I know that there is a collection on Disney Plus where you can go to the essential Ahsoka episodes.
Okay.
And anybody who maybe hasn't seen the show yet and wants to catch up on that, I would recommend that.
Agreed.
Or look up a filler skip guide. Because I honestly, I love Clone Wars, I do, but the first 10 episodes are fucking garbage, right?
Yeah, you told me that.
The movie is absolutely trash. The Clone Wars movie is right up there with the sequel trilogy in terms of garbage. Even though it is technically Ahsoka's debut, I hate it. I walked out of the theater, it was awful. It is not good.
Has anyone else just seen that? No.
Don't waste your time. If you start Clone Wars on episode 10, you're gonna come up with Ahsoka and Ventress fighting, and just kind of go from there. And it's really good. I'd say around season 3, the production value really shoots up too. But I don't want to be that anime nerd. It's oh yeah, this anime gets really good after episode 245. This shit is awesome. I don't. So yeah, I mean, really
use those first 245 episodes to build characters.
Yeah, I mean, there is some amazing stuff in Clone Wars. The last season of Clone Wars is probably rock solid, amazing all the way through. That's the Siege of Mandalore arc, and there's a lot of really great stuff in there. A lot of stuff to tell you about Bo-Katan. A lot of stuff to tell you about Sabine. It's not until I think maybe the last episode or the next to last episode of this that they even brought up her whole family being murdered on Mandalore.
Yeah.
Because Sabine is actually Mandalorian royalty, and her whole family was killed in the Purge. I'm pretty sure Obi-Wan was hooking up with her mom at some point. I don't think he's her daddy or anything, but
I remember us talking about that.
they were definitely smashing.
Because you told me that the little boy who rides with
Hera,
Jason, his dad is a Jedi.
Yeah, Kanan. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm like, listen, my boy got so much shit for having some babies and having a romantic relationship, and just Jedi's out there just doing it willy-nilly.
And the some of the other novels, I mean, Luke gets laid. I mean,
With a fucking Imperial spy.
Yep. Mara Jade.
Well, if you're gonna get laid, you might as well.
Might as well. And like
Imperial
they
spy.
have Ben Skywalker, right? Like that was their
That was Kylo Ren's.
No.
Well, no. So no. They have a kid. So in the EU originally, there are 3. Solo, Han and Leia have 3 kids, right?
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
Jason Solo is one of the kids, and that's where they got Jason's name, Hera and Kanan's kid. That's in the show with the green hair.
And then the Solo twins.
And the Solo twins is another thing that they jettisoned, which was lame. Ben was the Skywalker kid. They used that to be Ben Solo in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
So they just kind of like nitpicked things. I gotta say, the one character that I doubt we're ever gonna get her because of how important Luke is to her story. But if there was one character that's never been live action that we could get, it would be Mara Jade for me.
Yeah, 100%.
So.
She's the Imperial spy. You know.
That he hooks up with? Cool.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, they gave my dude a lot of shit, and it seems like it's going
also,
around.
when that stuff happened, though, like, it was a different time. Like, just like, you know, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it was during the golden age of Jedi where they were basically in control of everything.
Yeah, they were like
And
supposed
so-
to live in a monk-like manner almost. Yeah.
No.
Well, yeah, and it was that. It was honestly that kind of just like Palpatine says it was kind of that like dogmatic, like strict view that they had.
Narrow view.
Yeah, very. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, I mean, but he was right. You know, they viewed the Force in one very certain way. Like you have to have this, and the thing is, having the attachments was never the problem. The fear of losing those attachments was the problem. So the Jedi are like, well, you just can't have them then. And I'm like, that's probably not the way to go about it.
No. That is so against human nature, it's not even funny. Like,
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
oh, that makes me so angry. Sorry. That whole line.
The whole mantra.
Oh, yeah.
Break that down for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong if you take it from that Jedi stance, right? But humans, okay, which the Jedi, well, not all of them were humans, right? They welcomed other species and things, obviously.
I think Yoda actually dropped this line.
Yeah, Yoda did.
A lot of the Jedis were human. So now you're asking them to literally fight every instinct that they have, which is towards attachment. Like, have you ever seen I don't know, somebody who literally lives their life with zero attachment? So my brother, like, we're going way into the rabbit hole.
That's what
That's what we do here.
Okay.
You just have to say, all you have to do is say, bear with me here.
Bear with me here.
And then everything you say after that is completely fine.
Oh, we need to work on that rule set.
But see, you only get one because you had so many that day.
I think this is an exception, though.
Yeah, it is.
I can go down rabbit holes when it comes to Star Wars.
That's true.
So bear with me here. My brother, not a big attachment guy. That's just kind of on the spectrum. You know what I mean? He's just not big with human attachment. That's totally cool. But the mental state that he can sometimes get himself into because of that lack of attachment, it's not healthy. It just isn't. Whether you don't have to have a love attachment. It can be friendship. It can be sibling. It can be, maid family, whatever. But as a human race, I feel like we need that to thrive and survive. So now they're putting these human Jedi in a difficult position where they were set up to fail. The other races, maybe not.
I guess my only caveat, and this is actually very contradictory to the Jedi, is they like what other a lot of religions do that.
No, absolutely, which is why I'm not a religious person. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's the way that we as people are supposed to live our lives. But
well, what Yoda says there in that line, though, from a human standpoint, the whole like fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, whatever. Or is it fear leads to hate?
No, fear leads to anger.
Yeah,
anger
okay.
leads to hate.
Hunger,
Yeah, I had it right.
hunger leads to frustration.
Leads to hangry.
Yeah, it leads to hangry. Yeah. Hangry leads to murder death. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that whole fear leads to anger thing, that is a very human thing.
Mm-hmm.
it is, but he's insinuating that you can live without fear, so that it doesn't go on to the other emotions.
Right. Oh yeah, they're wrong in their
the
message.
humans
Oh, 100%. Like, I will definitely agree with that.
I also, another rabbit hole here, but what the fuck did the Jedi think was going to happen when, like, the prophecy was talking about bringing balance to the Force?
Right.
And, like, the Sith are completely eradicated, and there's, like, thousands of you guys on the light side. What the fuck did y'all think balance was going to look like? I mean...
Well, the same way that, like, people always kind of miss or reinterpret like religious text to kind of for it to mean what they want it to mean.
Oh, of course. Especially those in power want to stay in power.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, Qui-Gon wanted, I understand why he wanted it, because Qui-Gon understood that the Order was like too political, that they were too dogmatic, and that like
that's why he did never accept a seat on the council.
Yeah, he literally was, Qui-Gon's whole thing was that I want to start a living Force. If you watch Tales of the Jedi, that was Dooku's thing as well. It led him down a shitty path.
Yeah.
But Dooku, I have a hard time disagreeing with Dooku up until the point where he murders Yaddle.
It's around that point.
I was with him up until that point.
Just to put it out there, I'm not saying what Anakin did was a good choice.
Are we back on Anakin again?
Yeah. And Dooku was very similar to kind of what happened with Anakin. He went about it in a smarter way, but he was all about the good of the galaxy and everything. And then next thing he knows, he gets sent on a mission. They're there to protect this senator who's like a fucking tyrant and is like just basically like got a whole planet worth of people like suffering for his own benefit. And he's like, why are the Jedi protecting this dude? Like he was kind of the first person to be like, we are way too tangled up in the politics of all this shit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And, and he passed that on to Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon, however, was like, a much better person as far as like having an outlook on everything and being able to see the big picture. But, Qui-Gon's death pushed Dooku over the edge, man, because he was just like, wait a minute. My Jedi Knight that I trained came to you guys and was like, there's a Sith Lord. And y'all were like, LOL, nah. And then y'all sent him right back to the place where the Sith Lord was, where he then got murdered.
Security cam said some dude that looked like the devil killed him.
Yeah, which is weird that only that, what's the name of that fucking planet? Damn it. That hurts my brain.
Describe it.
Where they fought
Naboo?
Yes, Naboo, thank you.
Wow.
My brain just blanked on that shit. It happens.
The whole first movie was set there,
I was going to say, I didn't think you'd forget
Well, it was
that
on
one.
Tatooine as well.
See?
The first time they ran into Maul was technically on Tatooine, so
That's true.
my brain kind of... Anyway, but yeah, like, it's weird that only Naboo has security footage. Nowhere else in the galaxy.
But, all I'm saying is that, if my religion, offered me to facilitate magical superpowers, I might still be in it too.
Right.
Like you can overlook some things sometimes, because you got to look at it from all angles.
However, your religion didn't necessarily say you like the Jedi
I
Order.
said
Yes.
help facilitate superpowers.
It does help facilitate, but following said religion doesn't take those powers away, as the Sith have just.
Right.
So
That's not what the Jedi teach.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. right, I'm gonna wrangle us in here.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Ahsoka in a while.
Ahsoka. She's also a Jedi.
Yeah. She was.
Was.
That's a whole nother fucking rabbit hole. Anyway, I do want to say this. There was a couple of cons you had mentioned earlier. One for me, the Shin and Sabine fight in the first episode. I do not like it. I
didn't like the resolution.
I didn't like the resolution, but I also thought that was a really good place for them to really display Sabine's prowess as a fighter, as a Mandalorian,
right?
But not as a Jedi. And it took them longer to get to that because she has such a great, rich backstory too. And I'm like, they showed the fucking helmet under her bed like 90 times. They just kept panning back to it. I was like, we get it. We get it.
Yeah,
we know she's a fucking Mandalorian. We get it.
Yeah, you could have just like put that in. You know?
Right. You could have given us more instead of just another flash.
No, like I will give you that. Like the first time you see Sabine fight Shin, like I was over here was like, granted, Ahsoka was on her way. However, Shin had she had plenty of time to slice that bitch's head off, and she didn't.
And the whole like people getting stabbed by lightsabers and living thing, I need that to end.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
like
just
it makes
cut her hand
Qui-Gon's
off.
death mean nothing.
Just cut her hand off. That's tradition. Just cut her hand off, okay?
You know what?
It's Star Wars. She can get one of those nice little spindly metal ones.
That's true. Yeah, like limb replacement. Like I might cut my hand off on purpose if I get one of those. You know what I mean?
And like,
or let Volo pluck your eye out.
Yeah,
maybe if they had her in like a Bacta tank or whatever, but like I want to know what kind of fucking hospital they got on Lothal, because like
not a good one.
If you hell no, it was a good one because like she was good like the next day. It looked like,
bro, it was like the next day.
The bed.
Yeah. And like she got stabbed like here with the lightsaber, which means
that's piercing a lung. That's going through ribs.
That's going through your intestines, which get cauterized by the heat, so it's not going to heal. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, no Bacta tank, and she's just good the next day. They got, like, some of that fucking apply to the forehead shit for, like, lightsaber blasts or whatever. Because...
Get some ibuprofen.
Yeah. Well, that's an American hospital. They'd be like, you got some Tylenol at home? Fucking that shit. So, yeah, no. Drink some water. You'll be fine.
All right.
No,
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
I agree. It completely downplays Qui-Gon's death.
Yeah, I mean, granted, he got stabbed in the sternum, but like,
even more so, it doesn't just downplay Qui-Gon's death. It downplays the severity of a lightsaber.
Yeah,
and I think for me, like that's kind of the most damning thing. Like the whole concept of a lightsaber is, I mean, theoretically, like if you get stabbed with a lightsaber or katana, like you're pretty much fucked. But still, like this is a fucking laser.
It's a laser sword.
Well, in Star Wars, if you get stabbed with a katana and there's a Bacta tank on the same planet, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the type of katana. Like maybe it's a vibroblade katana.
Vibroblade, you're still good on Bacta tank. The only thing a Bacta tank won't heal is if someone slides you off into some lava. So
that's oddly specific.
It is oddly specific.
Wonder why you had to go there.
I wonder why I named that specific thing. That's weird.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Yeah.
But
there were a few odd editing choices, and I rewound an episode. I think it was 1. Just to make sure I wasn't fucking going crazy. Like there's a shot where like we see Sabine and Ahsoka, and I think it's actually when they first actually meet in the show, and the camera cuts to Ahsoka, cuts to Sabine, back to Ahsoka, Sabine again.
They're like a stare off,
and then they talk. I was like, let me rewind it. They didn't just do that. Like how long is this episode, and why was that gratuitous shot necessary? And they did it more than once in those first 2 episodes. And I don't know who the director was, if it was the same person for 1 and 2, but they could have shaved some of that down.
And I could have really done without the Star Trek chase scene from the remake Star Trek movies. With Sabine.
It's not a motorcycle, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, with Sabine at the beginning, like
that didn't bother me. But I did question where the fuck that road goes because it doesn't seem to go anywhere. I was like, this is
it's
just
a metaphor, you see, for Sabine
No,
and that
like,
current.
it's like Midgar in Final Fantasy VII.
That's true. Like, literally
Just
leashed her
drops.
bridge out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She just didn't have a giant sword to like fend
Yeah.
off the. I see.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it's more aptly. It's like the bridge and Batman Forever when Dick Grayson is racing. You feel me? And then like he slides and Batman and Robin is when that happens. You know, he's on the bridge. They're in the street racing thing, and he saves Batgirl narrowly with his acrobatics.
Maybe I should have had you pour me some of that Douce before.
I mean, for real though.
I think I poured too much. It was delicious though.
Yeah. You know what's funny is like when I was watching the first 2 episodes, I was sitting there. I was like, man, I told Ace he got to watch this show. He's gonna be watching this shit. Like, has this motherfucker gone off the reservation? Like this is not that good. And I agree. I don't think the first 2 episodes are stellar. I think they are good, but like in that first episode, I started to worry because like that first episode has a lot of like Disney Star Wars fuck ups in it.
Yeah.
But then they kind of vanished very quickly after that. Like 2 was better, and then starting with like 3, I loved the show the whole way through after that.
100%.
So mainly, just like the main thing, like that fight with Balin and Ahsoka really kicks it off because it's such a good fight. It makes fucking sense.
For the most part, with the absence of Sabine versus Shin the first time, most of the fight scenes they were choreographed by someone who knows how to fucking fight with a sword.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, not to mention the attention to detail on Ahsoka's fighting styles as well was very good.
Yeah, superhero fight scenes are typically more difficult to put together than, say, something more practical like a James Bond or a John Wick. Like, wow, that takes a whole lot of talent and a crew of stunt people and professionals who know what they're doing. Superhero fight scenes are always more complicated because it takes someone who understands fight physics, but also it takes a nerd to sit across from him and be like, well, this person can also do this, that, and the third. So how would all of this really apply in real life? Like Daredevil is a fantastic example of that in that TV show, of like, bringing the fantastical aspects of him in a more practical light or darkness since he's blind. But I think that this Ahsoka TV show, I think that this Ahsoka TV show does a great job of like showcasing different lightsaber styles and techniques and like the practicality of that, but also showing that with like the flair of what these force wielding people can do.
Or different fighting techniques in general, not just lightsaber fighting. Because when we first get back with Ezra, right? I thought that was so cool. How he keeps telling Sabine he doesn't want a lightsaber. He only fights with the Force. And then they get bombarded by is it the stormtroopers? I can't remember.
No, it was like some mercenary group.
Yes, it was some group of people. And it was really cool to watch him fight in that first.
A lot of force push.
When he held the lightsaber, I lost my shit.
Yeah, it was super cool. I hadn't seen another character fight in that style. And like feeding off of what you said, this show did a really good job at showing different characters' fighting styles.
Right.
And I did like the amalgamation style that Sabine eventually adapted, where it was Mandalorian meets Jedi, and you can definitely tell she's both.
Her second fight scene with Shin that was going on the same time the Ahsoka and Balin one, I loved their part of it too, because she fucking fakes her out with she makes her think she uses the Force, and it's like, this bitch ain't got no Force powers, and then she shoots her with the wrist rocket thing. That whole thing was amazing.
It's so good.
It was super
because
good.
that's the whole thing. Like tactically, obviously, because she's a Mandalorian, she's good with any kind of weapon, right? Like even a lightsaber. But she just can't.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't she also wield the dark saber at one point?
She did, in fact, wield the dark saber for a considerable amount of time. Yes.
Yeah.
And so a little bit of Mandalorian tie-in for you. When Bo-Katan talks about how the first time she acquired the dark saber, she did not win it in combat, and that's why she never felt like she really truly owned it. Well, it was Sabine that gave it to her, that handed it over to her because she entrusted her with ruling Mandalore. Went fucking south, but
these things happen.
But trauma builds character.
Yeah,
I will say, I think I've definitely said this off mic, but I think my favorite moment in the Balin Ahsoka fight, it was something so small, but it made so much sense. Balin outweighs her considerably. Like he's got the weight advantage, the strength advantage. At one point, Balin, ties up with her and starts pushing, and she actually puts her foot on a rock. And I'm like, that fucking makes sense. That is logic right there. That is practical. She's keeping, because obviously more strength in the legs. Most people have that. So, just that little tidbit just made that fight so much better.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree.
Well, it's not only that, too. Like, a lot of people were like, well, how come she didn't use the second lightsaber? Well, the two lightsaber style is actually something that she picked up. It's a defensive style. Mm-hmm. And she knew that she was going to need the power, like she was going to need both hands on the single blade because he was a much more powerful opponent. Using the other blade would have actually put her at a disadvantage in that fight. And I even love the one point where he's like, they're like tied up with the lightsabers and he's like bearing down on her and she's like using the force to push him away as well.
Yep.
Like everything in that fight was just so good and it made sense. And that's probably my favorite fight in the whole show. However, I really do love the her and Morgan Elsbeth fight from the finale.
I loved the way that Morgan Elsbeth had her own unique fight style. It made sense. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but it just made sense that she would have her own completely different looking to me fighting style.
I'm probably the only one who has a lot of Night Sister Dathomir knowledge here. So what did you think about the Night
You'd
Sisters?
be incorrect.
When they said...
I thought it was super cool. I really would love to know more about that lore and who they are.
It is mostly a Clone Wars thing. So cool story. So Darth Maul is from Dathomir.
Right.
His brother Savage is also from there and is in the Clone Wars. The Night Sisters actually are took part in resurrecting him and putting him back together and all that shit. So that is kind of Darth Maul actually makes a pretty big resurgence after he gets cut in half by Obi-Wan. Only to later on get cut in half by Obi-Wan again.
Yes.
That's
at the end of Rebels, Obi-Wan kills him again, and Darth Maul's rotting corpse is actually buried not too far from where Luke Skywalker lives as a kid. So
it's not concerning at all.
Yeah, so fun times. But yeah, Obi-Wan kills him again. There's a running kind of theme with Obi-Wan where people that lose to him, even if they don't die or manage to escape, they end up fighting him again and losing again. So
that's kind of annoying, slightly. No, you kill him at a later date in the exact same way.
Yeah. Well, see,
am I alone in that?
The photo has been analyzed, and the way that the sand was, Obi-Wan actually is just slightly about 3 degrees up higher.
Oh,
so he had the high ground.
Than Maul.
That gives him a 500% fighting boost.
Yes,
as we know.
so he had the high ground.
Yeah.
High ground.
And Maul never stood a chance.
Yeah. Man, science.
Granted, in his defense, Darth Maul had already been reconstructed with some spider legs.
Yep.
Then he got his real legs back, and then Obi-Wan fucked him up. So
I'm just imagining Darth Maul in the metal spider legs of that guy from Spider-Man.
Oh, you don't have to imagine.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can look. Yeah, you can.
It exists on the internet.
It's in Clone Wars.
It's in Clone Wars.
He literally had the spider legs for a while. Yeah.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. Him and his brother actually went to go fight Palpatine, thinking that they were going to overthrow him or whatever. I can tell you how that shit went.
It didn't.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to watch Clone Wars. I have to just.
It's good. There's some very good shit in there. You just it gets better as it goes because they started it off as a children's show, and then they were like, "Well, what if we do this?" Oh well, and then as you can tell over time, George Lucas starts to kind of step down from it, and then by the end, Dave Filoni's just doing it himself,
right?
And especially the last season, that's all him. That was after Disney got it, and they were like, everybody wants to know how Clone Wars ends, and he was like, well, then let's make another season, and so they did, and season 7, tremendous, some of the best Star Wars content that's out there. So
I'm about to look and just verify real quick. I feel like that's the only season that's on Disney Plus.
I was like, you need to see Darth Maul right now with the spider.
No.
He also
Fucking
has enormous nipples, so be careful when you do with that.
No, I feel like
He's like
season
salami
7
nipples.
for some reason is the only one that's on Disney Plus, and
That's
I don't
weird.
want to be like giving out incorrect information here.
You know, that would make sense the more I think about it, because if Cartoon Network does own like those original seasons, then that's WB.
Yeah, I gotta say though that there's no way, like,
Right,
because
surely they
that
would've-
would have just been a licensing thing.
It would have, but it also would be. They'd also have to pay for it.
Well, yeah, but they got all the Marvel shit back from Netflix.
Yeah, but I mean, Netflix also was in that kind of position, like a situation to negotiate like that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
While she's doing that, what does everybody think about Ezra? Because this was the first time. I mean, well, knew him from Rebels.
Yeah, I know him from Rebels. Yeah.
What did you guys think about his live action presentation here?
I was taken aback at first, and I was like, I was not expecting to see Ezra with a beard. I don't know what it was. It was just not what I was expecting. But at the same time, like, his portrayal of Ezra is actually pretty accurate. Like,
Yeah. And it's not the same actor either. Yeah.
no, like, they got the likeness pretty damn good too. If he shaved the beard, but like, no, like Ezra just seemed very much like the Rebels, you know, like especially in the later seasons. I enjoyed Ezra.
The interaction with him and Hu Yang when he's trying to put the lightsaber together.
Oh,
That was so good.
Yeah, I loved all that.
And
That's so accurate to his character.
I know this moment had no weight on you whatsoever, but when he was talking about his Jedi Master Kanan, like, I knew Kanan because Freddie Prinze Jr. was Kanan, and like when he gave him the top part of the
Focus for the lightsaber.
the focus at the top. I was like, oh my god, I'm over here about to cry.
But see, that's one of the moments I was speaking of. I was like, I know that this is supposed to be like a really big moment.
Yeah,
And that's kind of where,
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, with no knowledge of any of those characters, I can see why that would fall flat for you.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I might be corrected. So it says on there, Star Wars Clone Wars final season, and it used to only be season 7. But I think they have since, and I mean recently, within the last 6
Gone back
months,
and added them back.
gone back and added. If that's
all
the
of it,
real season 1
It is, yeah.
animation, then yeah, they have since gone
So
through
I'll
and
pick it up on
added.
episode 10, and then we'll
that's exactly what happened, Lauren. It wasn't on there the last time you checked.
No, I swear it wasn't.
I believe, it sure wasn't.
I swear it was only season 7, and
Yeah.
it even says in the little click thing,
Right.
Clone Wars final season.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm Looney Tunes, but
Hey,
I don't know.
I am on your side.
He's not. Yeah, he's not.
So, you gotta cool it with that shit. She's gonna go kill a bunch of younglings now.
Well, if she does, it'll be our fault, not hers. We saw the warning signs and we ignored them.
Oh my god.
So, Lauren, we offer you a seat on this council. We don't grant you the rank of master.
You understand?
Not fair.
you must fear nothing.
All right, I'm gonna bring us back again. What did you think of Ezra?
I thought Ezra was a really cool character. Like I said, I wasn't super familiar, probably like you were, or maybe even Oz was, because of watching the animated stuff. So the first couple of episodes, I felt like, who the heck is this guy that we are trying to find, and why do we want to find him so badly? And
And he showed up and he was hot, and you were like, "That's why."
No, it wasn't hotness. It was his Force use that was really cool. It was obvious that this person has like a really strong connection to the Force, and it could be a useful like ally. Also, they have this great relationship and friendship bond between the three of them. But it was really cool to finally see him and see what he was capable of. Like I said, he was my favorite fighting style with his massive use of the Force. And I just thought he was a really cool character.
I mean, obviously, like, he's been bodying Thrawn's troops the whole time.
Yeah,
like,
that he's been on this planet, right?
And he's just been hanging out with them little crab people. and
Little armadillos.
when I saw all the night troopers, like which was very cool with all the red on them, I was like, I wonder how many of those night troopers like have been rezzed, because I knew about the Night Sisters.
Yeah, I knew about them mostly from the game
From the game.
play, Galaxy Heroes, because like the fucking Night Sisters are a fucking terror fighting them.
I believe that.
And they res their team all the fucking time. So it's like,
Rezzers.
oh, I hate that shit.
I was not ready for that moment if we're talking about the finale.
The zombies.
Yeah.
So when, knowing what I know about the Night Sisters, like when they first showed them and Thrawn, and they're like, we need to empty the catacombs or whatever. I was like, oh God. And then when they show that final shot with all of the caskets or whatever on the ship, that's what they've been loading up. I knew that's what they had been loading up. So my theory is that those are all bodies that they intend to put the actual Night Sisters of Dathomir. They intend to resurrect them into those bodies.
What do we know? What kind of people would have been buried on this planet? Like,
On Dathomir? Yeah, it's like the original Night Sisters that Palpatine killed. Like
okay, so
OGG.
some
like
beasts.
like Mother Talzin,
Triple
who that blade originally belonged to, is nuts. Like she basically united all of the different Night Sisters together, and like she was such a threat that Palpatine wiped them out. So like there's it would be a huge danger, because you're basically thinking like those three. The three Night Sister witches that we see in the show, you're basically thinking about thousands of people who are of similar power, and that would be very detrimental to the galaxy.
So timeline-wise, are we running along Mandalorian?
This is after like her appearance in Mandalorian, so it takes place after season 3 of Mandalorian.
Okay, because obviously it leaves off with Thrawn going, doing his thing. I'm thinking, is he going to be the big bad in the next season of The Mandalorian? Where are we going here?
So the plan is for Filoni's movie to basically to be like an Avengers style thing where it's Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Ahsoka all together. So
Got it. And it's going to be just one movie, and he's going to
as
start to
far
finish
as
it.
we know,
Okay.
your boy Cassian probably won't be in it.
No, I know, and he is.
He died.
He got
He-
incinerated.
Yes.
I mean, hold on. Who knows? Maybe the Night Sisters found him.
No.
then he's
I
a
would be
bad
actually
guy.
upset if that happened.
I don't know, man,
He
like,
needs to die for this purpose. You know what I mean? Like, his death is super.
Was it really a purpose?
The way Palpatine came back, like anyone can come back. It's fine.
That is, I refuse.
They're gonna open up the movie somehow. Cassian
Somehow.
returns,
Oh,
and that's it. And then he's just in the movie.
lose my whole mind.
That is even lazier than the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Right.
Is that what?
Man, one of the things that got me about this show was like the internet. It was damn near WandaVision level with all the theories out there. First,
I bet.
Oh yeah.
first when they showed Maroc, or
Mephisto.
whatever.
No.
Yeah, when they first showed Maroc, everybody was like, "That's Ezra." They turned him to the dark side. Blah blah. I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of there too.
it makes no fucking sense. If they could go to the other galaxy and get Ezra, then why are they trying to get there? Like,
Maybe they're like. My theory was that Ezra never actually left, and he just got captured and twisted.
No.
But
no, he left.
But I was quickly corrected.
And it was literally just some poor inquisitor that she had animated with Night Sister magic. That's all it was. Just a fucking a dead inquisitor that they had reanimated. And then it happened again as soon as Balin was like, maybe they fear a power greater than their own. And the internet went kind of apeshit with theories about Abeloth, which is a non-canon, like ancient, like dark side power concept or whatever. And I was just like, and then it became like the Mephisto thing, where it was just like, oh,
I can see that.
This symbol was on the wall of the temple. Like, it must be. I was just like, oh my god. This is probably a good place to talk about that final shot we see of Balin.
Oh, yeah.
I sent you guys a link about this earlier because I knew it was going to come up. So, those statues that he's standing on are the gods of Mortis. And we talked about this a little bit earlier off mic. And essentially, the concept goes back to another Clone Wars thing. And that's why I was like, this is such a fucking deep cut. Like, if you haven't seen this, there's nothing in Star Wars that even alludes to this. And, you know.
Yeah, like, unless, like, I didn't know about it until a couple weeks ago. My work buddy was talking to me about it, and I went and did my own research. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
So in Clone Wars, they Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka go to this planet called Mortis, which is actually not a planet at all. It's actually a like kind of dimension in the Force, right? It exists complete within the Force. And there are 3 super powerful Force beings there. There's the son, the daughter, and the father. And the daughter represents the like kind of light side of the Force. The son
Very
represents
Catholic of them. I'm sorry.
it is. The son represents the dark side of the Force, and the father is supposed to balance them. And when they go there, and the father sees Anakin and realizes how strong he is with the Force, he actually tells him, "I choose you to take my place." Well, the son is trying to escape Mortis, like, and if he were to do that, then he would be ultra mega powerful, and he wants to like take over everything.
So these are like actual beings, not just metaphorical.
They're actual beings.
Okay.
Yeah. So the what he ends up doing is he ends up taking control of Ahsoka and attacking Anakin. And in the fight, Anakin actually has to kill her to stop him from escaping. And so when this happens, the father and the brother are killed in the fight. And only the daughter is alive. And the daughter helps Anakin resurrect Ahsoka. And so the daughter's symbol is that little owl that you see in the finale that comes and lands on the rock.
Yeah.
That little owl follows Ahsoka around pretty much every time after that point because she is only alive with the daughter's power. So like they're connected, right? And so that little owl thing is kind of like symbolic of the daughter watching over her or whatever.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, yeah. And so, like, there's that theory that now that, especially in Anakin's blue glowy state, that he's
may
going
be the father already.
like he may have taken the place of the father already, like that area between the world between worlds. I have a theory. I know it's probably not going to happen because that would mean they'd have to make a certain character canon, but because I'm pretty sure these beings are going to be like filled to where they need to always have one in each one. I think Ahsoka is going to ascend into the daughter's role. And do either of you know of Anakin's second apprentice?
Ace definitely does.
Hell yeah.
Look at Ace's face.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
No,
you want me to speak on it?
Yeah. Who's the second apprentice?
I'll give you a hint. It's from a video game you've definitely played.
Yeah, it's definitely Jason Starkiller.
Yeah.
I didn't even need that crucial assist.
Those bullshit eyes, those bullshit eyes.
I have no desire for Starkiller to be canon. I would roll my eyes into the back of my head.
All I'm saying is, so Starkiller's from Force Unleashed, if you've never played it or heard of it.
Yeah, nope.
He was actually Darth Vader's apprentice, and he eventually turned to the light side. I'm not even sure what happened to him because I never played the second one.
I played it, I forgot though.
Yeah.
Is there like literature I can read on this? You know, that's my home base.
Maybe.
Don't waste your time.
Oh,
They're not
it's
going to
not
make
that
They are
bad.
not going to make.
Jesus.
I don't think it's that bad. It's just that the concept of Starkiller works for a video game.
Yeah.
The concept of Starkiller doesn't work for the main.
I mean, they
canon.
can.
His story is that he's OP.
Yeah,
You know.
that's true.
Yes. What better embodiment of the sun than that individual?
It's just hard to frame a protagonist in a movie sense or TV sense that's whose whole arc and story is that I'm so overpowered.
Right. I agree.
All I'm saying is that is my theory. I don't think it'll actually happen, but it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
No,
I
that's
mean,
a very cool theory.
And it just makes sense though. Like, you know, the two Padawans of the same Jedi Master.
being
you know.
the sun and the
now
dark.
I would accept the Star Killer if somehow, some way, if he shows up and then wants to kill Rey, That would be phenomenal.
I mean, they're doing a Ray spinoff. That's a great
Actually, I
introduction
heard that
of him.
actually got scrapped.
Oh God,
did
I
it?
hope so.
I heard it got scrapped. I don't know.
I would love that. I know
know, right?
I know they canceled Taika Waititi's fucking garbage film, and I know nothing about it other than that he was directing it. You saw his other movie Bomb that he recently came out with.
I did see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he made a movie about like a fucking soccer team or something.
Yeah.
And it bombed? Really?
And it was like one of those super like feel good stories or whatever. I was like, yeah. Well, the
What
dude-
does thou have against Taika Waititi?
have you seen Thor Ragnarok? How
have
about
seen
Love
Thor
and
Ragnarok.
Thunder? You seen those?
Oh yeah, I've
Those
seen
are
them.
fucking garbage.
I actually appreciated them for what they were.
I'm good.
That's, I
good.
mean, you know, I also appreciate a toothache for what it is too, but it ain't much.
As a casual viewer of the universe, I had a good time.
When Thor got on Stormbreaker and rode it like a witch broom,
Jesus.
Like, the best
was-
part of Love and Thunder is when the opening scene, when he's kicking ass with the Guardians, and that's it.
Yeah.
That is and his outfit. But I'm also an 80s hairband dude, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, come on, the music and stuff, like.
when I went to go see, well, that's what they want you to do. They want you to go, well, the music's really cool. Just
Yeah.
turn your brain off. Don't pay any attention to what's happening.
Oh, like the Ninja Turtles movie we just watched.
More on that soon.
I'm so glad I don't have to come on and talk about that.
Hot take, I would watch Love and Thunder 100 times over that Guardians of the Galaxy movie that I walked out in.
That is the scalding hot
We
take.
are going to go back to Star Wars
Yeah.
now.
Hold up! Which
Wait a-
movie is that?
That was at the hour 26-minute mark. I'm just trying to figure out what I need to cut.
Which Guardians movie we talking
The
about?
most recent
She-
one
she
that I
doesn't-
walked out of.
She doesn't like 3 because it was too heavy, I guess.
I think that there should have been some sort of trigger warning at the beginning of that movie because I was not prepared. I was going in there ready for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
And you got
I
one.
was not ready
you got the best one.
to be ugly crying in a packed movie theater, like uncontrollably, have to leave the theater, begged my husband to leave, he wouldn't leave.
He liked the movie.
The fact that the thing is though, like that art made you feel something.
It made me feel something I didn't want to feel. I wasn't prepped. Like I said, if they would have gave me some some preparation
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, this is gonna happen."
They did! The Guardians Christmas special!
I mean, I liked the Guardians Christmas
That was
special.
the prep! That was the
no,
prep! It's
she's-
letting you know we're getting heavy in the next one.
She's saying that she would have liked a trigger warning for the
As
animal violence.
a person who likes animals more than I like people, I needed something to prep me for that movie, and I wasn't given that. I was in there holly jolly
All right,
with
so-
my Guardians bucket, ready to enjoy Star-Lord.
Would it make you feel better if, like, the fact that you just kind of called Rocket an animal? He would hate that. So he is more human than animal by his own accord.
I understand,
More
but his
human
little
than
friends
you, man.
weren't.
I was ready for it because I knew this was going to be Rocket's backstory, and I knew that it was going to be traumatic as fuck.
I didn't know that. So
Surprise!
yeah, that's what happened to me. I got a surprise
So-
that I wasn't prepped for.
Next
So
time,
Ahsoka,
just get with one of us. Like, high evolutionary, he tortures animals and people in experiments. That's his
Exactly,
thing.
and all of your friends die. Like all of the little friends, they die. Just
Yeah.
cruel, harsh
You,
death.
you don't get attached to the new characters in the third movie. Everyone knows that. That's the rule.
Especially when it's a flashback and you never heard of these characters before.
I wasn't ready, and I just feel like I should have been the prep man. You have to,
I would have felt the same way about Ahsoka had they killed off the crab people.
right? Like if they would have just like.
They're adorable.
They are adorable.
I didn't say they weren't. I said I would have been very upset had they killed off the crab people.
Would you? Really? Would you?
So
I would have laughed a little bit, but then I would have been upset.
I'll tell you the kind of person I am. I'm so upset about these animals and Guardians, but the Padawans, I'm like, I mean,
I
there were
noticed.
signs.
Oh, yeah,
There's some balance there, I guess.
You know, I gotta say, like, you know, in terms of like I know some people that got caught off guard too. Like a lot of people that like my mom went to go see Guardians 3 with me, and she's all like, she loved the first one, and then she really loved the second one, which I was like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
And she's expecting that we're about to have this
A
grand
gay old
old
time,
laughing
exactly.
And I am so glad that she and you got disappointed. And we didn't get that because I fucking loved how like just dark and gritty that movie was.
Yeah.
It's
Did
my favorite
Kay
Guardians.
watch it? Did Kay watch it? And how did
Yeah.
she feel about it?
She was actually like, yeah, of course she got sad, but she enjoyed the hell out of it.
Like, she didn't sob? She didn't, like, go
no,
into
she
the fetal
did.
position?
She did cry when the animals.
But she wears her tears as badges of honor.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But she really liked the movie.
She did.
So
I didn't see the last 30 minutes of it because I was still rocking, and so maybe I would have liked it better.
You know, like the whole point of that, though, and bear with me here, but you know,
oh no.
Did it!
you can't walk into the world of superheroes and expect me not to hit you with a bear with me here. But you know, the way you feel about that is just to put you in the mindset of it. If that makes you that tumultuously upset, imagine how Rocket feels and how he just keeps all that shit buried, never letting that shit out. And then you know, when he finally does, I mean, it's a good time. Well, you got to finish the movie.
I know. I didn't finish the movie. And like I said, I don't think it's a bad movie. I can't watch that movie. I just can't. So
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, honestly, though, the company you're in, the whole way I got this guy to start reading the Cosmere is because the Lost Metal made his wife cry uncontrollably. So, you know,
like,
and he was like, wow, I really want to read this.
I want to know what makes my wife cry. Let me read it.
I think I should get into these. All these people that have been telling me these are great books, you know what's finally going to do it? Is this.
The sobbing.
All of this sobbing right here.
Well, I mean,
Emotionally traumatize me now.
I 100% get that.
Caleb Thanos level tricked everybody into getting into the Cosmere stuff.
Lauren was easy. I was like, these books are great. She was like, cool, I'll add them to my TBR.
Let me binge them.
Yeah.
Let me read all 4 900-page books in a month. That's cool.
And now you are, other than White Sand, have read everything I've read.
Yep.
And maybe soon to be more.
Well,
So.
I've read White Sand, Lauren. I know some stuff that you don't.
I tell you what, I know everybody talks about Mistborn, but Stormlight's where it's at for me as a lover of, like you said, fighting and
It's Stormlight
what's the
for me
word?
too,
What's the word I'm looking for? Battles or
warfare, lore.
warfare
I mean, the lore
and
too.
lore. I'm a
about
Stormlight
coffee?
girly. What?
What about coffee and lore?
Oh. I mean, if you like coffee and lore, I know a place for you.
Oh my god. You know, yeah, that it's Stormlight for me too. However, the thing about the reason that I can't just go around and be like Stormlight this and Stormlight that is like, if I go up and hand this motherfucker a copy of Way of Kings, he gonna hand it right back to me.
And be like, wallop you with it.
Or
Like,
when
I'd stop you before you reach the handout.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that the audiobook is
Oh, yeah, no,
48 hours.
I've technically
52.
started
54.
it.
4, is it? Okay.
Yeah. A friend of mine told me one time, she's like, yeah, I'm going on this road trip. You got any recommendations for any audiobooks? I was like, as a matter of fact, I do. And I fucking went on Audible and just sent her a copy of Way of Kings. And she goes, this is 54
I
hours
can
long.
drive the United
Right.
States and not finish this book.
I was like, well, you said you were going on a long trip. I don't understand. So, yeah.
But I think Warbreaker is a great toe into Sanderson.
Not for these two.
No.
It wouldn't be.
You know whose
They wouldn't get the
war didn't get
whimsic-
broken, though? Thrawn's. So let's get back to
We're going to derail into everything. The only thing we haven't derailed into tonight is Baldur's Gate. And I'm sure it's
Oh,
coming.
well, why don't you bring it up?
The meme you sent me, so good.
Which
Hoyd.
The Hoyd meme? Okay. Yeah, that's a fucking Cosmere Baldur's Gate combo right there.
And I was like, oh my god, that's fucking fantastic.
They need to put a mod in Baldur's Gate there. You can use Jedi. Speaking of Jedi, we go back to the.
So I'm trying to figure out which of those transitions were worse. Like on a scale of 1 to 10.
All of them were pretty bad.
pretty bad, yeah.
I do think we've been bullshitting a while.
Yeah, speaking of bad, like Thrawn, that guy is bad to the bone. Am I right?
You are in fact correct.
I do think though. I'll give you. Are you good?
No, I'm not. I haven't been good since I got here.
Since we are back here, I do think though that like I loved him as a villain. I think that they just did such a good job of like not falling into any of those fucking tropes that like pretty much all the Star Wars villains fall into.
Like you can really get like he's a very intelligent and tactful individual.
Stoic, if you would.
Yeah.
Well, and he's not fucking randomly mustache twirling either.
He doesn't have a mustache.
He does not have a mustache.
No, but he definitely has that bad guy evil stance though, with the arms crossed behind. Yeah.
Very general of him.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like that was on point.
I also love that they didn't have him in like perfect fucking shape either. Because
Yeah,
like
'cause why would
it
he?
would make no sense because the dude's been fucking stranded here for like 15 years and he's like 50.
That's true. I feel like if Hitler had been in good shape, a lot of our villains like that would also be, you know. but Hitler was not jacked.
What?
Damn.
He wasn't.
Well,
But I mean, I see your
is
logic though.
Yeah.
The Empire was a metaphor for the Nazis. I mean, it's not that big of a stretch.
Okay, I actually didn't know that.
You never picked up on that?
No.
No. So like the genocide and
I mean, now that you
racism.
put it on the table,
If Hitler
all the
had a Star
connections-
Destroyer, he would have definitely put it to use.
Oh God, yes. I mean,
Honestly,
I think he was trying to build one.
I think he'd still be in power if he had a Star Destroyer. Just saying.
consider that like no one else has a Star Destroyer. Yeah, I wonder if they're going to get the Chimera fixed. I don't know. So, was it obvious to everyone else that, like, when they first saw the ring thing that they were building, that, like, hey, that's a giant hyperspace ring? Did, like, anybody?
Well, because like Obi-Wan uses one
uses them.
in Episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, for his little fighter jet. So
It took me a little bit, but I did catch on to it.
yeah.
yeah, it took me a minute, probably longer than most, but like I said, I eventually figured out what the fuck it was.
The minute I saw that shit, I was like, they're going to use that shit to bring the Chimera back.
Yep.
Which they never dropped the name of his ship in the show, which I
Did
thought
they
was
not?
weird. And they also, it's called the Chimera because it has a giant fucking, like, etching of a Chimera on the bottom of the ship. And I figured they're going to
show
give us
that.
a fucking close-up of that, and they never did that either. And I was like, that's weird. But
And they had a couple opportunities in that last scene with that was a cool scene we haven't talked about yet, where where she finally force pushes Ezra onto the ship.
Yeah.
I was not sure that shit was going to work.
Right?
No, when he fell, I was like, ooh.
I was like, well,
This
damn.
was a worthless trip.
But I also was like, if he
Especially
pulls
for
her across, I call fucking bullshit. So I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I actually really loved that she went back for Ahsoka.
Oh yeah, I did too.
It was a very decision that I felt like her character would make.
In my head canon, she only went back because she didn't think she could make the jump either. She's like,
I mean, I was like when fucking Ahsoka's like go, and I was she's like okay, and just kind of jogs towards. I was like, you ain't getting up enough speed to make that jump, bitch.
No.
Oh, here comes the line. You're gonna die here alone. Not completely alone. Oh, god damn it.
I totally expected when she was giving that speech to Ahsoka, I wanted Sabine to just come up behind her like sneak attack style and just like behead her. Like that was like
Oh, so Arya Starker? Got it.
yeah, something. Like I thought that would have been really cool.
no, she didn't say ruin the ending.
I did want to know what was up with those like mountain-esque troopers at the top because they were nuts. I actually loved where she pulled the lightsaber and like cut it on.
Yeah.
That was such a good kill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. There's a heart-wrenching fucking meme where it's like it's Obi-Wan and Anakin and Ahsoka at the top, like during Clone Wars or whatever. And one of them drops the line like, "It'll be fine as long as we stick together." And then like the next 3 panels, there's like Obi-Wan on fucking in exile on Tatooine, Anakin on like the Star Destroyer with the Vader shit on, and then Ahsoka sitting with like a ring of all of the fucking 501st Trooper helmets where she's had to murder them. Yeah.
That is super heart-wrenching. Thanks for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Man.
God
And
damn.
also, speaking of episode 5, which of course is to me is still the best episode of this season.
I agree.
there was
Hayden
so
Christensen, am I right?
Right. I remember him getting so much fucking hate when the prequel trilogy came out. I was like,
Wait, who got hate?
Hayden Christensen.
Oh. Like they were like, why is Vader such a whiny little bitch? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of him in those movies either.
This is my time to thrive, you guys. For years, I had to hear the whiny, angsty teen, blah, 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 blah.
I mean,
like,
he was.
I
But that
had to
he was.
hear it.
But he should have been.
You know, standing strong. I'm writing my fan fiction. I'm calling out I'm skipping school to go see episode 2. Like, I am, you know.
You can watch it after school. I'm just saying.
Oh, I was like, no. I skipped to go watch the
Did you
movie.
never skip school, son?
I didn't have a car. Where was I going to go?
Walk.
Fucking where?
I don't know.
I lived in
I'm sure
Thompson.
your buddy was going to take you.
No.
Hey, if you would have came to me and be like, hey, bro, I'm skipping today. You want to come? Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
at the time, both of our houses were in walking distance of the school.
Uh-huh.
So,
I'm just saying, it feels real good to see Hayden Christensen walk out onto a Star Wars panel and get like a standing ovation type of thing.
Well, like,
it
I've
feels real
always-
justified.
I always loved Hayden Christensen as Anakin. Like it felt good to me, and then of course all the love he's being shown here. But the real reason I brought up Episode 5 is all the Clone Wars Easter eggs that we got dropped hardcore the whole time.
good God.
And like I know it kind of gets lost on you. Just should have seen it or
I caught all of them.
okay. But like,
What's the
seeing
little girl's name that plays the young Ahsoka? Can you?
The actress?
Yeah.
I can look that up.
Well,
She was also
Go
excellent.
ahead. But I'm gonna
but
need
like,
her.
see, like just the walking by Rex.
Oh my God!
and-
When Rex showed up, I lost my shit. I know that's like just gonna be a me thing, but like I lost my.
No, Rex is dope. Like, he shows up in Rebels quite a bit, and like I enjoy Rex immensely. And so seeing him on the screen is great.
Ariana Greenblatt.
Yeah. She. Anyway, go ahead. We'll come
No,
back to that.
I'm pretty much done.
I thought she did a tremendous job of playing the live action version of the Clone Wars Ahsoka. She also played the young Gamora in Infinity War, and she's also the little girl that stars in the Barbie movie. She is the second female to ever be in $2 billion films.
That's really, really cool for her.
Yep, and ironically, the first one is
Gamora.
what's her name? That shit just flew out of my head.
Holy shit, just flew out of mine too.
Zoe.
Zoe Saldana.
Saldana,
Yeah.
is the first, and she is Gamora, and then she played the younger
Yes,
Gamora, and
yeah.
she's the second. So,
So what you're saying is I need to play Gamora one time.
yeah,
And just be good.
Yeah.
Or apparently play the Powerball. It's up to like $1 billion.
that's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
And then you wouldn't have to worry about being in the movies.
That's true.
You wouldn't have to
I could put myself in the movie. That's
Right,
right.
exactly.
Buy the film company and actually make some decent movies, my
I
dude.
don't think you can buy Disney for $1 billion.
No, I'm not saying Disney, but something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Now's the time for me to make an attempt to buy Marvel from them. Like, this is the time if I'm going to buy.
that's
Yeah.
true, man. You might get that shit for like. I mean, if you wait a couple years, you might get that shit for like $50 in some envelopes. The way they're running that shit into the ground, it is interesting to me that like it. And I've said this a couple times. It's like Disney can never get them both right at the same time.
It's this balance.
Yeah, like it's like as
Yes.
because they fucked up Star Wars super hard while the MCU was like at its peak,
Right.
and then now the MCU is just like I don't even care. Like I haven't watched a single millisecond of
You haven't
Secret
seen
Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
I haven't
I was
seen
going to
any
say,
of it.
what even is out in the MCU right now?
I don't care about Secret Invasion. Loki comes out next week.
Oh, I do want to watch Loki. I liked season 1 of Loki.
I want to watch
Actually,
it.
I think Loki comes out this week. But,
I want to watch it for Mobius, but I don't give a fuck about. Like I just know, and I want to see Jonathan Majors. I guess probably in what might be his last time we get to see him on screen, depending on how the
trial goes.
legal shit goes. But you know, I love him as an actor. Not condoning anything he may have allegedly done, just putting that out there. But you know, because I got a bad feeling about this one, honestly.
Oh no!
Evidence is pointing in his favor lately.
That's true. It is. But I'm just saying he plays villain real well. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna have to do some googling because I have no clue about this.
Oh yeah,
thing.
he has like assault allegations or whatever, like some
like
domestic
SA
violence,
assault or like
DV. Yeah.
oh
yeah.
jeez, oh,
Bad
great.
stuff. But it's all alleged at this point. Like,
Right, allegedly.
there's not like footage of him like choke slamming a lady in a store or anything.
There's no elevator
Ezra
footage.
Miller.
Nothing.
That would actually get brownie points to me. Like if you choke slam somebody, I got to give you props.
That makes me so angry.
The Ezra Miller shit.
Yeah, and then the fact that he's still
No, it was a person that he assaulted. It wasn't an animal. So it should be. It's cool.
It's cool.
theory, yes. In theory,
Honestly, let's all face it. If Ezra Miller, like he probably kicked some puppies. Like,
exactly.
Ezra Miller.
He looks like he's
All I'm
not
saying-
friendly to kittens.
All I'm saying is that if Ezra Miller chokeslammed me, I would laugh about it and then tell the story on this podcast.
I mean, yeah.
That'd be-
if it were you,
Yeah, that'd be
I
fucking
mean, to be
like.
perfectly honest, like,
I'll be like,
would you jump?
I just say I'm more impressive than anything.
I would jump. I would sell the fuck out of that.
Oh,
shit,
yeah, for
'cause
sure.
I'm gonna sue him. He got money. He didn't get it from the Flash because it didn't make any, but he got some money.
Right. God damn.
I had to get that dig in there. All right. What else we want to talk about?
Speaking of Ezra,
Speaking of, let's just double back.
Oh, that was actually really good.
I agree.
How do you remember what button?
It's
is
always the green one. That's,
Okay.
that's the one I know to push.
There you go.
I memorized that one.
I know a few of them, but I always forget, and he changes them too.
I do.
Like one of them used to blare the fucking awful Wonder Woman music.
Yeah, it was this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That was a great button.
And
I missed that button.
There was a Multiverse of Madness one for a while.
Yep.
So yeah.
And then like I got some other ones that just play random commercials that people made for me. Definitely wasn't me.
Yeah, it definitely
Nice.
wasn't him.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
They just remarkably sound a lot like you.
That's
I gotta get me one of these. I'm really what I'm really waiting on is I'm waiting for Ace to
Upgrade his system.
and then I'm gonna get this one for the
No,
love.
he already promised that to me.
You ain't gonna use this shit.
yeah,
You don't know.
Y'all can fight over it. Like I just used this one because it's here. I have a second one.
Celebrity deathmatch.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll just take your second one then.
No, you can't take the second one.
This won't be the first time we fought. It'll be fine.
That's true.
True.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. No, just like imagining y'all
Have to put
fighting
it on.
over
Have
the
to put it
thing.
on YouTube.
I'm down for that. I want to see that.
We'll dress
bro,
up
bro.
as we'll wait for Dragon Con. We'll dress up as Peter Griffin and the chicken.
Oh,
and we
fucking
can just
phenomenal.
fight all through Dragon Con.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't seen more of that.
I feel like the cops will stop it.
Oh no.
Everybody's not going to be in on that joke.
I feel like they're gonna have to pause for a second though. That's not a chicken fighting some fat guy.
I feel like if you stay in one place and do it, you probably be okay. But like I'm gonna get tired after about an hour of that.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true.
yeah,
Hey, at least you're good for an hour.
yeah. We'll see. Let's see how it goes.
No, this is
As long as I'm not, it depends. Am I Peter Griffin or am I the chicken?
that is
If I'm
true.
the chicken, I ain't making an hour. That's who's gonna be hot as fuck. You're gonna be the chicken.
I don't want any damn chicken.
You have chickens. You know more about their
That's
mannerisms.
true.
You're more qualified.
It doesn't matter if I have
You're
chickens or not.
Now, see,
I just can't walk around Lauren ever though because she's terrified of birds.
I was gonna say, if they were birds in that damn Galaxy movie, I would have been fine.
Yeah, I was
Wait,
gonna say.
what movie?
The Galaxy 3,
Guardians.
if it would have been.
Oh.
Yeah.
But she
Yeah,
hates birds.
yeah,
Really?
I don't know how you would react to me coming around the corner in a giant fucking chicken
I
suit.
would lose my mind. I don't think you understand how terrified. I could not, for months, walk. I still can't walk through Oz's backyard.
Because of the chicken?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
I was violently attacked by a goose.
Well, goose are dicks. Like they're like some of the
Yeah.
meanest birds on the planet.
but to be fair, I mean,
Yeah.
if
To
Oz
be
comes
fair.
around the corner in a fucking like giant like Shelob costume, I'm leaving too. Like I'm terrified of spiders.
Oh, same. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
That is true.
Or just
Challenge accepted.
this wouldn't happen. This would never happen. But like if there were like a giant like mechanical spider for some reason,
See, I'm cool with spiders. I'm okay with them.
no. Oh, you thought I wasn't gonna bring? You thought we were gonna make it through this whole thing without that coming up?
I was really hoping so.
Yeah.
I mean, it has nothing to do with Star Wars, so.
Why would it come up?
If John Peters was involved with like
It would've had a giant
Lucasfilm,
spider.
oh for sure,
It would have had a giant
there would have
spider.
been a giant space spider by now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait
I mean,
a minute, there
Darth
were
Maul
giant
was-
spiders in
Yeah,
the
the-
Mandalorian.
Darth Maul was a spider,
Darth Maul had the
guys.
spider
Oh,
legs. Yeah.
If you go back and watch those episodes, you'll see executive producer
John Peters. Just this one episode. This is random as fuck, but fun fact: when they did the Mortis episodes, I believe Qui-Gon is in them, and Liam Neeson did actually reprise his role and did the voice for Qui-Gon.
That is freaking dope.
That's
That's,
cool as
another
hell.
reason to need to watch.
Yeah, because like while all the bullshit was going on, Obi-Wan was like communing with Qui-Gon and shit. He was like, "Yo, master, you see these fucking kids you stuck me with?" Yeah, like the kid picked up an extra kid, and she's trouble also.
and Qui-Gon was like, "Damn, dog, that's crazy."
Yeah, right. Yeah,
just
that
in-
sucks.
Yeah, my bad, dog.
Just very hippie-esque of him.
Well, is there anything anybody wants to talk about before we score this thing?
I mean, so what you guys? Oh, yeah, so we talked a little bit about Hayden Christensen and then like his appearances here. And I got to be honest, like maybe just the fact that we haven't seen him in so long or that often, like he just seems. I like him better in like the Obi-Wan show and in the Ahsoka show than I did in the the original sequel trilogy. But then again, it's just I've always maintained that like the
Well, see, I think the reason why is because at least with this show in particular, we're getting the Anakin basically from Clone Wars. That that transition from angsty teenager to Jedi Knight.
yeah.
And so we've got that version of Anakin, and because of course in Revenge of the Sith, he's definitely very close to getting to be Vader at that point. So he's already like going back to the angst a bit. So like this is that transition period version of Anakin.
I feel like you're supposed to like him better in the, Ahsoka type stuff. Also, I think the writing is a bit better.
That's where I was going with it.
And
Yeah.
like Robert Pattinson, I think is an absolutely fantastic example of you are the writing that you act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in Twilight, the dude was awful. Like, let's be real. That's the same
can
actor
agree with you.
who also is in Water for Elephants and
Oh.
is freaking brilliant.
Or
and
Batman.
and plays the Batman, and he's so freaking good in it. You, as an actor, you are your own acting, but you're also the material that you're given.
Agreed.
And I don't know that episode 2 was the most fantastic material he could have been given. I liked episode 3 a lot better than I did 2, but I still loved that character and would defend that character to the death.
Because it's all Obi-Wan's fault.
Well,
He's holding me back.
George Lucas is notorious for terrible dialogue. He always has been, and
Yeah.
and he admits it. Like he's like, I am a storyteller. I writing dialogue is like not his strong suit at all.
You and I
that's-
just had this conversation in the
did.
car. There is a huge difference between being a writer and being a storyteller.
But that's why if you look at like any movie credits, you'll see story by so and so, screenplay by such
Yes.
and such.
Yeah.
They are not the same thing.
Well,
They
and that's
are not.
that's one of the reasons why like Empire is like kind of heralded as like the gold standard for the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Is like Lawrence Kasdan had such a huge role in that and a huge part of that, and by that time like Carrie Fisher also was like kind of helping them correct stuff too. One of the major reasons why like the sequel trilogy is fucking garbage, but like the dialogue is a lot better than in the original trilogy. And one of the reasons for that is because Carrie Fisher went and redid a lot of it. Because there was no George Lucas there, so she was just like, "Nah, y'all got to fix this." And then what are they going to do? Fucking tell Carrie Fisher no?
Right.
Fuck no.
Right. Do you think the fan theories about her daughter being involved in some future stuff, maybe some Andor 2 type stuff or anything in there?
Don't want her there. What I want them to do. So for this Heir to the Empire movie, if they're going to call it that, and they actually, I said before they made the season of Ahsoka that they were going to call the movie Heir to the Empire, but then they dropped the line, like Ahsoka actually says, like Thrawn is the heir to the Empire. Heir to the Empire is what the first Thrawn novel is called, and I was like, they're gonna call the movie that. Thrawn's gonna be the big bad.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if you're gonna call the movie that, then you got to bring it. And I know Dave Filoni is the only person I trust to do it.
Honestly, yeah, I can agree with that.
But it cannot be the Ahsoka and fucking Mando and Boba Fett and Bo-Katan and Grogu. That's not going to be enough. They have got to get Chewie. They've got to get Han. They've got to get Leia. And they've got to get Luke. Luke, they have. I don't know if the CG will hold up for a whole film. It looked way better in Boba Fett than it did when they did it in Mandalorian, so maybe.
And I feel like we talked about the actor from Han Solo could do.
Yeah, I think that guy's name is Alden Ehrenreich or something like that.
Yeah, some
German name.
Yeah.
I feel like he's aged up a bit since the Solo movie. I think
so that actually makes sense.
It's not a stretch. And then I think that Leia's daughter could play her. I think that is completely feasible. Her daughter is closer to the right age than Carrie Fisher would have been when she died anyway. I mean, so yeah, and hell, if they got to get Sebastian Stan to play Luke Skywalker, then they can do that too.
I mean, honestly, God, yeah, like, Sebastian Stan looks just like that motherfucker.
But
I made him in a lab. He was supposed to.
I would rather they do the CG and let Mark Hamill's voice be Luke. But I don't think you beat Thrawn with I hate to say it, with Ahsoka and the B team.
No,
that's true.
I agree. I would not call Mandalorian the B team, but
when it comes to fighting Thrawn, he's the B.
He got his ass beat by Moff Gideon.
Yeah, Moff Gideon fucking incinerated his ship, and now he drives around like a one-seater,
a Naboo cruiser. No, I definitely agree. Like, don't get me wrong, Mando, dope as fuck. But when it comes to fighting Thrawn, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, there's a reason why Ezra had to fucking basically teleport him to another galaxy.
Yeah,
because he's damn near unbeatable.
So we're talking about, and I have this similar conversation a lot, but when you're speaking about what canonically needs to happen for this to be a success versus what's the casual audience into right now and what can we do to gather success. I mean, theoretically, you need way more Avengers to beat Thanos. You just do. But for what we got, you're not going to get any better than that.
Well,
these are.
But they brought everybody.
They brought everyone they had.
Yeah. And that's what I'm asking. Is did they bring everybody they had?
Yeah. Give us all of them.
No, I completely agree with that. I want them to do a unique twist on it. I don't want it to be the Disney-fied Star Wars Avengers movie.
No.
But I would like
John show up and stomp his ass.
Like, it's literally the same scene. The things open up and they run out.
All I can see is all I can see is like Luke yelling out some what would they even be rebels? And his lightsaber assemble.
No, I would literally be mortified. So, we have ruined this for Caleb.
I mean, think about it.
They're like, hey, that worked the first time. Let's use it again.
Yeah, the Disney execs are like, what was our last really big blockbuster $1 billion empire? Well, the Endgame. Let's fucking do Endgame. That's Star Wars.
But Star Wars.
Stargame.
Stargame.
The fuck thing is, like, Mark Hamill could perfectly mimic Chris Evans' voice.
He probably could.
Because what people don't know is that a lot of people don't know is that he is like one of the best voice actors too.
Yeah, he is
ever.
Yeah.
If you haven't, I don't know if I sent you that thing where he like fucking impersonated Harrison Ford. It's like perfect. Even Harrison Ford was like, he can have the job. Fucking.
I knew Mark Hamill did good impressions. I don't think you've sent that.
Hey kid, you didn't fucking tell me that.
I mean, he is the best Joker. Fuck it, like hands down.
Animated Joker.
I think any.
I didn't leave it out. I leave anything out. Okay. I think he's the best Joker. Period.
Okay. I got the hot takes over here today.
Wait, I mean, is the hot take Heath Ledger? It's not a hot take.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
go
that's
with
right.
Fletcher.
I mean,
Absolutely.
best live action is definitely
Yeah.
him.
That's why I said you mean the
But
animated
still,
Joker?
overall, the best
Overall,
Joker, I think,
best
is
Joker still.
But overall, I think it's Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
But not that takes nothing away from Heath's take
No.
on it.
100%.
Because Heath played a very an awesome fucking dark grungy version of him. But
Now, if you would have said Jared Leto, we would have said something. We would have had some.
that's a
take.
fucking hot take.
That's the hottest of takes.
Yeah. Jared Leto is like the worst person ever played Joker.
I used to love Jared Leto, and to watch The Fall, it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Well, clearly, you haven't seen Morbius.
No, I haven't. I was not even going to try.
He's being
Don't,
sarcastic.
yeah, he's being
Okay.
sarcastic. That movie is fucking terrible. As a matter of fact, Matt Smith, before House of the Dragon, had just a horrible. It was like he was on Doctor Who, everyone loved him, and then he just gets cast in the worst imaginable shit.
That's why I'm so happy that House of the Dragon was so well received for him.
Yeah,
because
people in Hollywood are watching that shit, and they're like, "Oh man, this guy could act. Why the fuck did we cast him in Morbius?"
We thought he could save the movie. Nothing could save that movie.
Yeah, I mean, and he doesn't do bad in the movie, but once again, it's like, unless he's just gonna be like, fuck the script and do whatever he wants, you can't fix a terrible script with good
It's
acting.
like, yeah, you can't hand someone a shit sandwich and be like, hey, it's a good sandwich.
my favorite Doctor turned
sandwich.
villain. We talked about this. My favorite Doctor
Oh,
turned villain.
David Tennant. I mean, Purple
and
Man.
Jessica Jackson. Or Jessica Jones.
Jessica-
Sorry,
yeah.
Jessica Jackson.
That's the wrong Jessica.
Yes.
But his turn as Purple Man in that so fucking
It's
good.
phenomenal.
Speaking of David Tennant, I'll loop us right back in. We have not
Oh,
even
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about his fucking amazing performance as Hu Yang in this.
It's so good.
Oh,
Hu
yeah.
Yang is up there, and this was my first real introduction to him, I think. And he has come up there with the droids with me.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I don't, was he in anything else?
he's in Rebels for a little bit, isn't he?
I
know he's
I
in
will
one
say
of-
it has been a minute since I've actually sat down and watched Rebels, so I don't remember.
I know David
Yeah.
Tennant voiced him in the animation as well.
So,
So he's
but-
in
okay.
something animated.
Yeah.
So I will say that oh dude, just the character itself, I love him. It makes sense that Jedi would actually use a droid to help with the monotonous side of the training, especially in the younglings. But just the overall well of knowledge that he is, it's so good.
It is.
I love the meme earlier. It's like, I am fluent in over 6 million ways of insulting Sabine.
Yeah,
I fucking love that shit where he just straight up was like, of all the people I have trained to do this, you're the worst.
Right.
So good.
roasted.
And
The whole time.
yeah, and Ahsoka's just like, I don't think it's going to stand in her way. And he's like, I think it will.
Yeah.
100%.
But the line that he drops that got me was amazing because it was both comical and heavy at the time. It was in the finale when they're trying to fix the ship and he turns over and sees a little notey dude and he's playing with the wires and shocks himself. And it was a comical moment, but the way he said it, you laughed at it, but then you were like, oh fuck, was he was like, don't wait for me. And
Yes.
you were just like, oh shit, he's not gonna make it. He's gonna get stranded here. Well, they ended up all getting stranded there, but
Right.
yeah, I mean the way that he delivered that line was just perfect. Sometimes it's just that little thing,
Yep.
It's the Tom Holland, the "It Has to Be Me" from it just makes the movie, So
No, absolutely. It was as soon as he dropped it, I was like, "That's foreshadowing."
also cool thing, David Tennant also is the first person to say a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. He's the
In a
first.
Star Wars movie, I was
first-
like,
That is
But,
super.
but
super
I got to be honest, that needs to be the only time because
I agree.
I can see
I
that
agree.
just
No. It
Were
should not
you
be.
and I talking about the crazy fan theory, or was that me and Baron?
Either it's
It
the
wasn't
only
I.
time, or at the conclusion of it, where maybe he's doing a C-3PO telling the story.
I was
That-
gonna
that
say
would have been appropriate,
There
yeah.
is a fan theory out there that Hoyoung is the narrator from all of the
He's telling all the stories.
Yes,
That's
that
good.
must have been me and Marin that found that, because I thought it was me and you talking about it, but
No, but that is some Hoyd bullshit, but I like it.
yeah, like there is a rumor that he is the storyteller.
That's so
That is actually dope, though. Yeah.
He
And that's
is
why
old
he
as
was
fuck.
the first one.
mean,
Exactly. He's old as fuck. He's like way back in the Republic days
Yeah.
old, as well as being the first person to say those words. Like, there's a massive fan theory about it.
That's a cool theory. I mean,
No,
I'm not
actually,
against it.
I'm here
The
for
only
it.
thing I don't like about it is like the fact that, you know, because he is a droid of that caliber, he's almost like his memory is pretty much infallible. So if it's a human doing it, I can be like, oh yeah, they probably fucked some shit up then when they told it, and that makes it fun for me.
Well, maybe at the end of this, right? Like he malfunctions like
Yeah.
real hard, like he takes a blaster bolt to the face, and that's why the sequel trilogy is all fucked up.
That's what I was about to say.
He can't adequately recall, so he's just like, yeah, this probably happened, and you're like,
That sounds about right.
and he's
yeah.
like, yeah, and then how did he get the lightsaber? He
It was
teleported
his-
it to her, yeah,
It was his son.
yeah, the whole time,
and so then Luke just tried to kill the kid, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
That makes sense, right?
and then later on, like Luke.
And they fell in love.
Luke called him with a Skype call, and then he died. And you're like, well, that doesn't sound right. He's like, no, it doesn't. Yeah, well, anyway, listen.
Yeah.
And also, Leia decided to float herself through outer space.
Right. and so then what Palpatine did? Wait a minute, Palpatine? He's dead? No. He's back.
Somehow he
He's a
returned.
clone. He's a clone.
Can I ask further on that? No. All right, I'm gonna go into this. I don't want to, but I have to. I don't hate the Leia scene. I don't. I hate the way it looks. Like I think it was filmed shittily because Rian Johnson's not a good director. But I don't hate she should be able to do it.
I agree with you, especially with everything that was going on at the time. Hadn't she just passed or whatever, or was sick or something?
She had
It
died
was-
before. She died
Yeah.
after the movie was made, though. Like it was
Yeah.
before it came out.
I'm gonna choose to not comment on that.
Bro, it takes very little effort to move yourself in space where there's no resistance.
How many times have you done it?
I've never done anything with the Force. And neither shut the fuck up. I'm just saying that she's a fucking experienced fucking Skywalker
Well,
fucking
see, hold on.
Force wizard.
At this point, we had no fucking clue she's actually been trained on anything.
That's just you assume. First off, I mean, if you're going by the sequel trilogy logic, you don't need any fucking training. But like, but let's assume we're not going to do that. You're just assuming that after the end of Return of the Jedi, where she found out she's a super powerful Force wizard, that she just was like, "Cool, I'm gonna go sit on the couch and eat Cheetos." Like,
and make babies.
yeah.
She made one.
No, she was a fucking rebel leader.
Well,
Who trained in the
she,
Force.
She was actually like she was the head of the defense council for a while.
But what doesn't fucking matter. All I'm saying is there was no explanation of why she could do that at all until the third movie when they were playing. Oh shit, we forgot to to actually tell you about this. Yeah, here's a reason why she could do that.
Well, I mean, I get that the storytelling structure is garbage, and I definitely think they should have revealed her Force training in a cool way and not in that way. But the idea that she can do it is completely fine.
I've never argued that.
Okay, yeah.
I was just arguing the movie itself.
Oh, the way it looks in the movie is god awful.
and the explanation behind it, and up until that point.
It's the overall presentation, like
Just everything.
the lack of lead up and the lack of explanation and like the way that they go about, telling us
also-
all about it. It's
Not to mention that they just straight up murdered Admiral Akbar and Mon Mothma in that scene like that with no anything. Like,
right.
Yeah.
How fucking dare they just murder Akbar like that?
And also, don't get me wrong.
Put some
Don't get me
respect
wrong.
on Akbar's
Visually, I thought it was cool. But who the fuck drives in hyperspeed through another ship? Who the fuck does that?
oh no,
I'm just saying.
that one scene is the worst. I said I wasn't going to do this. That scene is the worst scene in the sequel trilogy because it completely invalidates everything. Because it's just like, oh, the Empire built the Death Star? Well, cool. Why don't we just fucking put a
Kamikaze.
droid
Yep.
in a fucking X-Wing and light speed it through the bitch?
Yeah.
Oh, they built another one? Well,
Do it
good
again.
thing we got
Do
another
it again.
X-Wing. Like, there's just completely, that and the whole fuel thing completely fucking dismantles the Star Wars lore from end to end and makes everything completely fucking pointless. Even the shit that they did in the last movie where they like put the Death Star beams on all the fucking Star Destroyers, which don't fucking terrible. But they were like, we gotta up it, you know. But that shit was horrible also. And even then, it's like, why do that? Why even do that? You just build a bunch of like little ships and just fly them into the planets, just light speed them into the planets.
As much as I hate those 3 movies, the rides are really dope.
I've seen them on YouTube. They're pretty dope.
I showed them to you.
Yeah. They're pretty dope. Like, I would ride that shit. I would ride that shit.
I hear that.
You haven't ridden?
I have never been to Disney at all.
That's right, you're a Universal guy.
Well, they're also, are they in Florida or are those exclusive
They're
to
only
California?
in Florida.
Really? Only
Yes.
in Florida?
They're at Disney World, yeah.
Are they?
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
no, I thought you said land. No,
They're
they're
at the-
exclusive to World.
Yeah, they actually have the whole...
Okay. I thought they were land.
They have the whole, what's it called? Galaxy's Edge or whatever.
Yeah, well, they closed that hotel. They're redoing it.
Yeah.
I think they were charging too much. I mean, I don't want to go into all
It
of
was
that
ridiculous.
was
Oh,
going.
for sure. I saw those prices one time.
I mean, it's really freaking cool to be living in a fully immersive experience on this ship and
LARPing
everything.
for adults.
Yeah,
It's a $26,000 Star Wars LARP, but okay.
but it was super freaking cool. But the price point was not to sell. Like,
no.
it just wasn't. But Batu is gorgeous, and the rides are immaculate. And I mean, the drone making, the lightsaber experience.
Oh, dude,
Where
I want to go there just for that.
Where you go
build
into that room.
You build your lightsaber from scratch.
But
Like, you
can get
pick
better
your
lightsabers
crystal.
elsewhere, right?
You
And
can.
you go for the experience because they do
true.
like
That's
the story, and then they turn the lights off, and then
you get
it's
to
got
build
the
a fucking
galaxy.
lightsaber.
I mean, you can do that shit at Dragon Con too, but like, it's the ambiance and the experience and all that
The
thing.
story.
Like,
I've seen like grown men cry during this experience.
I would.
Oz.
I would.
originally, I was like, fuck that. But then I found out that you can actually make Ahsoka's blades.
Yes.
Like, that's one of the
That's
things
one
they
of the
offer.
I would make
crystals.
Qui-Gon.
And I was like, oh, well, never mind. I guess I would go do the thing. It's not high up on my priority list still. I do want those hilts, though. My shelves need those hilts.
So, funny thing, right? Like, one place that I often frequent, like when I'm looking for like new statues, a website called Sideshow, not a sponsor. They have great statues, figurines, and all that kind of stuff. I was scrolling there just last week, and I saw it's on pre-order, but a replica of Ahsoka's handles, and they look cool as shit. If you got like a breezy, I think 1200, they can be yours.
I can get the actual lightsabers for that like I could fight with.
With a laser.
From Ultra Sabers. Not a
Ultra
sponsor.
Saber, man.
Also not a sponsor.
But I mean, I think the price point's $299, but you get like it's a metal lightsaber, and you get the experience. Like I said,
You pick out your all the
your
pieces.
crystal. They talk about the different ones and the different force powers. Like, it's a full blown 45-minute thing. So I think it's worth it.
That is a cool experience, and I poo poo on it, because I'm like, look at you fucking nerds. But truth be told, like if Avengers Campus ever opens, which I think is a terrible name, then I'll be there,
Right, yeah.
and then I'll be back to talk about it in the podcast and shit on it,
Yeah.
I think the 4 of us should freaking go to Batu, if you would, and go and have a drink at Olga's Cantina. And
If Jizz isn't playing, I'm gonna be upset.
You said jizz?
That's what the type of the music that they play in the cantina.
There's no way it's called jizz.
It
I was gonna let it go. 'cause
That is why I said it on air, damn it, because it's funny.
At least we're 2 hours and 12 minutes into this.
Maybe not a lot of people are going to make it this far.
In the first 5 minutes of the Dragon Con episode, I had already said "come gutters." So
I am
just to
watching
make
that
sure
at work
everyone
tomorrow.
on air, like
Great.
it's like duck titties.
it was a reference to Alexander Skarsgård's also. So,
Oh, nice. I am
This episode is
100%
off the
watching
rails.
it.
we're talking about how
Like,
chiseled
I don't know
he
if we
was
were
in
actually
Northman.
really on
Nice.
them.
And it's the
We
perfect
tried.
word
We
for
did
it
try.
now. I mean, I get it. Come
It's
gutters.
pretty-
Yes.
And it's also pretty bad that when I have to try to rail us back in.
That's when you know shit's just awful. Like we've given up if you have to reel us out.
Okay, let's score this thing.
Okay.
We've been at this for a while.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Oz go first here. We started with you. Do I need to go? Do I need to skip?
No.
Out of 5, out of 10, what are we
We're doing out of 10.
I'm gonna go with a 9.
It is 9.
Mostly because the first 2 episodes were really slow. The lightsaber fight between Sabine and Shin, but got seriously better after that and didn't stop. It just kept getting better. It peaked at 5, but then it stayed at pretty steady. So I'm gonna give it a 10. Not a 10, 9.
I definitely think the last half is tremendous. Like
100%.
Yeah. Ace, what you got?
Yeah, so for me, this was almost like watching 2 different shows because the first 4 episodes, particularly the first 3, really feel like a different ride from the last 4 or 5. But I thought that there was so much good stuff in here. I've mentioned several times already just the look and feel and atmosphere of the show. There was so much, not only money is easy to come by for this kind of corporation, but there was so much attention to detail, and there was so much to the aesthetic and feel of the show. Like, it didn't feel or look or seem cheap, but more than that, it felt like they put a lot of care into it, which goes a long way. I think that they did a really good job with the action scenes in the show as well. I like that they introduced all these characters that clearly I need to get to know more. But that kind of leads to some of the cons. For me, as someone on the outside looking in, there were just a lot of instances where these characters are supposed to really mean something to me. These characters are really supposed to be important. But I'm just, at this time, so up in the air with so many of these characters. I just need to see more before I can really be invested in a lot of them. But the ones that I am invested in, I would love to see more, such as Ahsoka, Baylan, Shin. I would really love to see more from those 3 in particular. Clearly, I'm going to get more Ahsoka, but the other 2, I'm sure we get something. But overall, I had a really good time with this show. I give it an 8 out of 10.
Lauren, what you got?
I am probably going to go a little high and go like a 9.3. And the reason for that is because of how kind of bad the Obi-Wan show was. And this was Anakin the way that I wanted, if you would. And so that whole arc for me as a nostalgia is going to put this show really high because I remember watching Obi-Wan and I remember being, other than the fight scene and a few other different details, highly disappointed. You know, I had really high expectations for this. I don't follow the directors and all of that as closely as you guys do, so I didn't know it was going to be...
These guys broke me.
Got it. See, I didn't know it was going to be crap because of who was doing it. Like,
I mean, I
was
didn't
like,
know either until after like when the show was shitty, and then I saw the credits roll up, and I was like, oh, of course.
So that was a letdown for me, and so getting this better Anakin content, as well as really loving the whole arc with Ahsoka and me having the relationship with the Jedi that I have, you know, because I have a personal relationship with this. I've been watching it for my whole
Your
life.
whole life, yeah.
Exactly. So I do feel like I have a personal relationship with Jedi and Force and this and that and Sith and whatever. The relationship that I have with Jedi and the Force is so closely mannered by the one that Ahsoka or Sabine has that I felt like very represented, as well as really loving the Anakin content, where I was so let down by the Anakin content that I'd gotten just a year or 2 ago. That's why I'm going to give it a 9.3.
I love it. I see everything you said there. I cannot be unbiased in this. Like, as much as I want to put my critic hat on and not and
I knew this was coming
and step back from it and not be like a fucking Star Wars fucking fangirl over this whole thing. I can't do it. I can't separate myself from it. Like, when I was like 8 years old, I had a copy of Return of the Jedi that was recorded on a VHS tape. Google that, kids. Off of a like Fox or something. You know what I mean? And I watched that shit until like the tape started degrading.
Yep.
I have such a relationship with Star Wars over the years. And then for Ahsoka, someone who has always been of huge interest to me and always been such a huge like favorite of mine, to have her own show, to have it be headlined by Dave Filoni, who created her, and is, in my opinion, the only hope for Star Wars, like the true successor to George Lucas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this had a very high bar that it had to hit for me. And while it did not check off everything on my wanted list, right? Like, it had Thrawn. It produced a awesome Thrawn arc where he is ahead of them, as he should have been, and he was the masterful tactician. We got to see Rosario Dawson play the character excellently and have this incredible arc. And you got to think about this too, like, other than probably Anakin, she is the Star Wars character that has the most screen time. Mm-hmm. You have to count animation, but like, we have seen hours and hours of her. We've literally, like, Star Wars literally with Tales of the Jedi documents her life from her being a baby, all through her becoming a Padawan and like her training and like the fall and everything. Her walking away from the Jedi Order, her dealing with the guilt of like, I left him. Like if she would have stuck around, then, her living with that guilt of like, if I had stayed there, could I have prevented Anakin from becoming what he became? Us getting that moment that was so similar to, you mentioned the Obi-Wan show, like, being garbage, but Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor were the only thing that kept that show from being garbage. Yeah. I mean, they were the highlight for sure. That line that he drops, I'm not your failure, where he says, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did.
So freaking good.
We got such a similar but more appropriate for the pair of them moment with him and Ahsoka in this. Just seeing General Anakin Skywalker on screen in live action,
right?
Is not something I ever thought that we would get, because the movies only introduced us to the kind of hot-headed Jedi Knight in training, and then we skipped ahead to like this super conflicted guy who's like on the outs with the Jedi Council and has already been influenced by Palpatine. We never got to see the guy in the middle who was the hero of the Republic, right? Mm-hmm. And so for us to get that, I just can't step away from it. I'm going to give it a 9.2. The show has a lot of flaws. I'd say the biggest hurdle that it has is that if you are a casual fan and only watch the movies, then this, like, Dave Filoni leaves you in the dust and doesn't give a fuck about it. I appreciate that to an extent, but I also realize that the show needs to bring in people.
No, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, like I will say that, and we've talked about like things not holding our hands. Like, this show doesn't do that. It doesn't really hold your hand. And if you don't know the shit, you don't know the shit.
There's a difference between like not holding your hand because all the information is subtly there versus not holding your hand because all the information is somewhere else.
That's true. And I agree with you 100%.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
In this show, like, he holds your hand a little bit in the first episode, but he's really only leading you up to the second floor so he can push you out the window.
I almost feel like I shouldn't have rated it because I have such a connection to the Anakin character. Like, it literally changed my life because...
No, I agree, yeah.
When episode 2 came out, real quick, bear with me. You might not know, my dad was in the military, lifelong military guy. I was supposed to go in the military. I was supposed to go to West Point. But episode 2 had come out around my junior year, I believe. And I was supposed to take my SATs that weekend. But throwback, like you did with the VHS, you used to on-demand movies, and you only got it for a certain amount of time. And I on-demanded episode 2, and I stayed up the entire night repeatedly watching episode 2. And I proceeded to bomb my SATs. Bomb them. Tank them miserably. I'm a fairly intelligent person. I'm not going to say I'm super smart. But I mean, I just tanked these SATs. And ended up not even going to college. So, well, I mean, later in life, but definitely didn't go the plan I wanted to because I wrecked my SATs to spend more time with Anakin Skywalker.
I mean,
the crazy part about that is there, for most SAT exams, there is a question about is it good to kill young Padawans or not. and like it's a pretty cut and dry question, apparently. But I mean,
well, then right next to it though is the question of do you need to be cruel to animals?
Exactly.
I was just going to say, congrats, Anakin. You failed another Padawan.
No, let's not. But I told you, like, that is the one thing that would get me to Dragon Con. No questions asked. No, do not pass goes. Do not collect $200, whatever they say.
Well, see, honestly, I'm glad he wasn't there this year because, like, that shit would not have worked. So now that the strikes are ending next year, I mean, I would love for him to be there. Like, he's got to be high up on their list as like a guest to get. I would be in line for him for sure. My only real major complaint about this show, as far as like what I wanted out of it that I didn't get, is Ewan McGregor. Like, twice now, we have had the opportunity to see all three of them together on screen. And twice now, they have not given it to us.
Think they're just saving it?
Maybe. I mean, I could totally see them doing a thing where...
saving it for the movie.
I could totally see them doing a thing where, like, Luke and Ahsoka are, like, somewhere and, like, both of them show up, you know, like, as, like, Force Ghosts or whatever.
Yeah.
Because obviously...
Blue glowies.
Yeah, blue glowies. Force Ghosts, whatever. You fucking nerd.
Yes. Yes, I am.
But that being said, that was my only like thing that was really on my wanted list that they didn't do. I didn't even know that we were gonna get fucking live action Night Sisters. I should have known because it was Dave. But like, holy shit, that was like.
Oh yeah, it was pretty dope.
I was not anticipating that shit at all.
Goddamn witches.
Right.
Force witches.
But yeah, that being said, does anybody have?
I can't believe I scored this higher than you.
By 1 point. Like
True,
a
by
tenth of a point. A tenth of a
By
point.
1 point.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just like, we probably scored it the same, and then you're like Anakin fangirling, just kind of,
right.
Just a bit.
Probably, you're right.
So.
I'm sure I do have more to say about the show, but it's either like not appropriate or not really pertaining to anything. What?
Now I'm curious.
And that's your problem.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
I have a problem?
Well, that's why you'll never be master.
I don't want your shit anyway.
I'm the great Ace Windu. You don't talk to me.
Oh my gosh, when you dropped that in the chat, I was like, that is phenomenal.
Oh my god.
We're not having that shit. They could get him back for the movie. We technically don't.
Ace Windu? I'll do it for cheap.
No, I'm just saying we never saw Mace die.
You just saw him fly out a window.
He just got his arm cut off and got pushed out a window. Yeah. For somebody as powerful as him, he should be fine.
Yeah, he probably caught himself.
If he's tired after, Secret Invasion, I'll do it. I'll say motherfucker.
Well, real quick, before we go, why don't we talk about what we got coming up? For the folks that have been listening this long, we appreciate you. Lauren, what you got coming up on the channel? I already kind of... plugged it a little bit yesterday.
Of course.
One of your things you got coming up.
So, one of the things I have coming up is that the Crochet Fairy and I are going live for the first time together to do a bit of a book club review on Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and that is coming at the end of October. I will make sure to keep you posted on Coffee and Lore on the exact date once we have it like nailed down, but it's probably going to be a Sunday evening, and we're hoping to make this like a bi-monthly thing, and then maybe viewers will actually get involved and read the book and be able to discuss in the live. But obviously, for it being our first time, we just want you to join us and maybe chit-chat while we talk about the book. And we're really excited about it. It's also October, so all the spooky reads, all the monster romances, all the sentient romances. I got one where she has a relationship with her apartment door. It's all coming to Coffee and Lore this month.
I think Ace. I think you reset Ace there for just a second.
Come to find out the door's a mimic.
On that note, though, I put out my Yumi review yesterday. I may have known they were going to do theirs and beaten them to the punch, so you can check that out on Entertainment Involved. Ace, what do you got coming up?
Yes, there's quite a few things coming down the pipeline. There is Homies Trivia Part 2 coming up.
Stop, I'm so excited.
I'm going to roast these.
Oh,
Oh, he probably is.
well, we gonna see.
We gonna see.
But besides that, very soon here, there will be a review of the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie coming out.
Cowabunga.
Dude, yeah.
Do they say that in the movie?
I think they dropped it one time.
Mikey says it at the end.
yeah.
Don't. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm not going to be here for that, but I had to sit through the movie, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all. I think it fucking sucked. Anyway.
One thing that would definitely not suck, an episode that I'm really looking forward to, is a philosophy of villains review, and that's where I'm gonna talk about some of the greatest comic book villains, their philosophy, and maybe they have a little bit of credence, maybe not. And so I'm gonna break down like those villains' points, like was Thanos really right? Well, what was he right about, and where did he go wrong? So with the likes of Thanos, Magneto, Killmonger, and a list of other villains, Joker, Two-Face, etc., I get to go down the list and talk about some of these villains and their philosophy and where they're right and maybe where they went wrong. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well.
That sounds so dope.
Oh, you're forgetting an episode, aren't you? Like, that you got coming up?
Ooh, what do you have coming up, Ace?
Yeah. Our Mistborn review. Yeah.
Oh, so I was going to wait for you to come back from vacation, though.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just upcoming. Yeah.
Yeah. Upcoming. It is on the docket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So we didn't specify we're on the docket yet. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely the Mistborn review. I'm on my second read right now. And really,
He's
really.
just getting those fine-tuned details down, guys.
I've read Mistborn, so you know what? But you,
I want in on that action.
And, Caleb introduced me to the Cosmos, so he has to be here for that.
Actually, we actually could all be.
We
a
could.
four-way Mistborn
That would be
review.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I am
All right.
so for you now.
Assembled. It's on.
It's on.
That means you have to, read it for the second time and get those fine-tuned details down, Ace.
I'm gonna have to read it for like a third time.
Still, do you have a favorite character yet?
It's so hard.
I'm actually gonna read it again for this though, because it's been years. I mean, it's been a long time. So
I might listen to the Audible. I haven't done that yet.
Oh yeah, Michael
Michael
Kramer's
Kramer.
soothing voice can lure you into the world of Scadrial. Oz, what you got coming up on Tavern Notice Board?
All right, so I have I've actually talked to you two a little bit about this one-on-one, but I have this really fun thing inspired by the superhero homie.
Homies Award or Homies Trivia?
Homies Trivia. There we go. It's very much like that, except for it's going to be the Tavern Notice Board Battle Royale, where I'm going to flip the script and bring a few of my good friends onto the show, and they have to build an encounter for me and see how that works out. I'm still working on the details, but as soon as I get them all ironed out, I will make sure that gets aired.
I'd love to see some D&D trivia too, man.
Ooh.
Start asking monster questions and different
Some
spell questions.
lore.
I like being on this side of trivia.
No, dog.
Please explain to me the technically 9 schools of magic.
I did a whole episode on them. You should go listen to it.
Holy shit.
It was a great episode.
Who was on that one?
Dylan.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
Dylan
Dylan episode.
Oh yeah, it was like he inspired the episode. And I was like, dude, you got to be on here for it. It's like, okay,
I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. Did you guys talk about like chronology and all that?
yes,
Awesome.
we did.
Cool.
Yeah, like what kind of critter would I be if I didn't actually talk about my favorite magic system? I mean, come on.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if you kept it to the base 8 or not.
No.
I'm on an episode and we talk about dragons.
Oh, not the dragons.
That's true.
Not the
Dragons.
Durgans.
Yes.
Durgans.
Coming up on Entertainment Evolved, I am going to, when I come back from a much needed vacation, I am going to start on our list of Nolan stuff. So I am going to be reviewing Christopher Nolan's entire body of work, other than the Dark Knight trilogy, which we reviewed on here, on Superhero Homies, and you can check that out there. I will be reaching out to probably everyone here for some assistance with that, and also some other guests. So that will be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm trying to get people who haven't seen the movie before. Brennan is going to come on and do Memento. We're not starting with that one. We're actually starting with...
I was going to say, I might be an option then. I have not seen a lot of his work other than Dark Knight.
So you haven't seen The Prestige then?
No.
Wow.
Okay, well, you're slotted
Blasphemy.
This is the greatest movie ever made. It
is a fantastic fucking movie.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I am pretty Nolan's... did he do Dunkirk?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen Dunkirk.
Yeah. I unfortunately have to watch that again. Because, when we did the Oppenheimer review, we ranked all of his movies, and I'm going to start at the bottom and do it in that order. So it's Insomnia, Dunkirk, and then, was it Rises after that? Did we put it that low?
Yeah, it was Rises.
So, so I'm not going to do that one, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't love
And then after that was Tenet.
Tenet was pretty low because you got to have
I haven't seen any
7 master's degrees to begin to understand Tenet, and one of them has to be backwards.
Right.
I'd spoil it for you, but I don't know what the fuck happened. Right. I've seen it twice. So I
feel like I have to watch this movie just to see what the fuck is going on.
I liked it. I just can't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, same thing. Like I really think I enjoyed that movie. I have no idea.
Maybe it's just subconsciously just putting it's like you like this movie, but there's nothing actually about it.
I went into the theater and things came up on the screen, and like John David Washington was there, and fucking what's his name, Robert Pattinson was there, and I liked both of them.
Yeah.
And I stared at the screen for a while, and then the credits rolled, and I left. And I enjoyed myself.
It's like that thing with the records where it's telling you like this
subliminal messaging.
Yeah, I just can't tell you anything that happened. I don't understand anything about what I watched. I just know I liked it.
Right. I feel like I need to go watch this movie now,
right?
just to experience this.
However, I am also going to be watching fucking season 2 of Wheel of Time, and I'm probably just gonna do one episode talking about that. And at some point, I'm gonna fucking end up talking about Rings of Power. We should review Gen V for your show.
Oh, for sure.
As well.
Yeah. That's something that's also going to be on the docket for me. I love the Boys Universe. Oh, I forgot to plug this. Yeah, also coming up really soon, I have the honor and the privilege to talk to 2 co-writers who have actually written a book. They're 2 clinical psychologists who have written a book on the boys. And
that's crazy cool.
Yeah. Matt and Lynn, they will be on the podcast. I'll be interviewing them here in a couple of weeks, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. The book so far is really, really fun and fantastic as well. So to get a view of the boys from that kind of crazy psychological angle, and like just getting more of a understanding as like what would the world be like if there were an evil Superman or something along those lines, is really fascinating. So be looking for that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
That
sounds fun.
Well, folks, check out all of that shit that we just mentioned. And we've been at this for a minute, so this has been Podcast Simple.